corners of the night, secrets hidden from the light. Whispers turn to screams, shattering all your dreams. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Shadows try to hide, no place for them to bide. Light will pierce you through, reveal what is true. Running from your fears, can't escape the sears. Truth will hunt you down, tear apart your crown. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers, exposing the truth. Truth seekers, coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome, and good evening. Because this subject of tonight's broadcast, Miss Sarah R. Adams, has been throwing around a lot of legal threats, I have prepared a written statement because I don't want to just say things off the cuff to open tonight's broadcast, considering she's threatening to sue me, she's threatening to get me arrested, which is completely and totally ridiculous because these are public records which we are releasing in good faith to educate the public about the dangers of fake psychic healer Sarah R. Adams. So one moment and let me get that written statement. And I apologize, I had it up and ready to go. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Truth Seekers. It's important that I put on the record that tonight we're not here to harass, defame, threaten, or intimidate anyone. We're not here to sensationalize or defame. We're here to expose a dangerous fraud, a so-called psychic healer whose reckless, baseless claims and dangerous practices have left a trail of victims in her wake. This is not a witch hunt. This is a public call to protect the vulnerable and to educate the public and to stop a very dangerous predator before she claims more victims. Her name is Sarah R. Adams, and tonight we'll expose the havoc she's wreaked with her fake claims of being a psychic healer and so-called spiritual guide. This woman, cloaked in the guise of a spiritual guide, promises miracles, psychic healing, shamanic journeys, even opening stargates and taking people on trips to spaceships to see aliens. And of course, communing with those angels and aliens she claims to speak to on a daily basis. Sounds mystical, doesn't it? But there's no magic here, my friends, only danger. There is no proof, no evidence, not a shred of credible science or fact to back her outrageous claims. Just empty promises of using her fake superpowers to help the customers she scams out of large sums of money. And of course, she leaves a trail of suffering that she leaves her customers behind in. Let me paint you a picture of her latest catastrophe, or one of them. Desperate people seeking hope, healing, or answers paid her for a, quote, shamanic journey, unquote. And what did they get? They got dangerous psychedelic chemicals and mushrooms handed out like candy with no oversight, no medical training, no regard for her customers' safety. And what was the result? Complete and total chaos. Ambulances screaming through the night, emergency medical teams dispatched, and police scrambling to save the lives of her customers, her clients. Ordinary people trusting her promises ended up in hospital beds or in jail. And she was right there with them, not as a shaman or spirit guide or savior, but as a patient herself, caught in the wreckage of her own reckless scam. This isn't the first time her so-called services have led to disaster, but it must be the last. This fake psychic healer is not just a fraud, she's a public health crisis. Her unproven, unregulated practices are a ticking time bomb, preying on the desperate, the hopeful, and the vulnerable. Every dose of her toxic concoctions, every baseless claim of supernatural power is a gamble with human lives. And the stakes are too high to let her continue on this dark and dangerous path. Let me be clear. This broadcast is not about embarrassment or harassment. It's not about stalking or defaming anyone. It's about the truth. And the truth is, this woman is dangerous and she is putting people's lives in danger. It's about warning you, the public, about the very real dangers of trusting someone who peddles lies as medicine, who cloaks her greed in spiritual jargon, who risks lives of her customers with absolutely no remorse at all. We have a duty here at Truth Seekers to shine a light on her deception, to demand accountability, and to protect those who might otherwise fall into her trap. This woman must be stopped, not out of spite, but out of necessity. Every day she's allowed to operate is another day an innocent person could end up in an emergency room, or worse, could end up dead. We cannot stand by while she exploits hope and endangers lives. Tonight, we'll expose her for what she is, a dangerous fake psychic healer fraud whose time is up. This should be the end of Sarah R. Adams and her entire scammy career. Stay with us tonight, friends, as we uncover the truth, because knowledge is power, and it's time to take that power back from this dangerous fake psychic scammer. Joining me tonight, I should give some background. So Miss Sarah R. Adams had this gentleman, and his name is Taj, who helped her in various ways as sort of a manager, webmaster, and more. And he'll give us more details on that. And recently they had a falling out. And this one-time manager of hers began exposing her for the fraud that she is. And how did she respond? She responded with a defamation campaign against him, claiming that he was a convicted felon in the United States. Well, I've checked, and that claim is completely false, which means that Sarah R. Adams is literally just lying about him to try to discredit him, as I believe that it's very dangerous for her scam to have her former manager basically agreeing with me that she's a fraud and a fake psychic and that she scams people. So she began threatening to have him arrested, claiming that he stole money from her. In my research so far, it doesn't appear that any of her claims are true. And like me, she has lashed out against this person, Tajinder, because he's exposing her scam. And like me, she's threatened him with lawsuits from her fake lawyers and getting him arrested and more. But friends, I urge you to see through her deceptions as we peel back the layers of deceptions that she uses to scam people. And I want to put on the record that I've had my problems with this person, Taj, but for the greater good, I'm putting aside the differences because I think what he's doing is a good thing. And I believe that every man deserves a road to redemption. He should never have helped her. But he's here to try to tell his story about what he knows about Sarah and maybe repair some of the damage that he helped her do to some of her victims. So joining me is Taj. Welcome, Taj.
Hi, Stephen.
I know that you have a short written prepared statement as well, just because of all the legal threats. Do you want to give us that to open with?
Yeah, just a minute.
And while you're getting that, let me just mention to the live viewers, we would really appreciate your support tonight in the form of super chats, super stickers, PayPal pledges, buy me a coffee, PayPal pledges. All the instructions for how to help are in the description of the video. But in order to keep the momentum here, I may be reading the super chats. We read every single super chat, but I may be reading them after the interview portion is over. First, to help get to the goal from Manila Toaster, and thank you for that. And we will be checking in with the Kick Chat as well, and thanking anybody for the support over there. Just so everybody is aware, it's very expensive to get this police records. They really rock the people, for example, right, Taj, we're also going to get her police interviews about this event, and we're going to be releasing them. But just as an example, that costs $150 to get copies of the police interviews. I don't recall what the body cam footage, but it's very expensive to produce these shows. But I am adamant to continue doing this because it's for the public benefit, and that's part of our sort of purpose here. But thank you, Manila Toaster, for your kindness.
Raise the cash, raise the cash, raise the cash.
All right, you can go ahead, Taj. I apologize.
Yeah, before I speak, I just want to make it clear, I'm not here to defame Sarah, the Harveys, or anyone else. I'm speaking only about my direct experiences and what Sarah has told me herself in private conversations.
Okay. So do you want to give us a little background? And I know we have so much to cover, but I think it's important that people hear, like, when you first started working with her, did you really believe that she was psychic and helping people with her, healing abilities? And how did it begin for you? And how did that start? How did the relationship begin?
So I started being friends with Sarah probably a few months before Max Spears died. So probably like
Okay.
early 2016. I was involved in the BASIS conference in 2016, and I was coordinating the conference basically. So the speakers, the marketing, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I would be speaking to Sarah, just being a middleman with Miles Johnston basically, and other people, and speaking with Max, and whatever Miles needed from them, I would pass messages on and talk to them or whatever. I helped Sarah get on some radio shows. I think I got her on Terry Joyce's show, Christine Hart's show, that kind of thing. And then Max Spears died. And
Yeah, sad, tragic death.
yeah, and obviously Max couldn't speak at the conference with Sarah, so I spoke with her at the conference. I met her 3 weeks after Max Spears died in Canterbury. We sat down, basically to talk about what we were going to talk about at the conference, really. She didn't want to talk about Max. It's too early for her to even discuss that.
Sure.
So we came up with, whatever she was, I can't even remember what she talked about. And then from there, she stayed in England for 3 months, and I saw her probably every couple of weeks. She was staying in Kent. I'm here in Berkshire. I would drive down, spend like a week with her, and she was just, not in a good way.
Yeah, having just lost her romantic partner to suicide.
Yeah.
Or drug overdose. I apologize.
So we became good friends. We spent a lot of time together after Max died, and she returned to the United States. And then probably early 2017, we started working together. I set up her website, and I did sort of believe that she had.
But didn't you have some reservations about some of the claims that she was? Because let's get this out of the way, because I feel a little bit awkward. But you know that I have mentioned you on a bunch of different shows and said, like, I think I said something like her manager needs to get her to turn the grift knob down because these claims are way too scammy. Like the claim that she can open stargates and therefore charge people $1,500 for a course to teach them to open stargates. Didn't that give you some? Didn't you worry that she was going too far with her claims and she couldn't back any of them up?
Um, I didn't question it at the time. I mean, to me, back then, it was all in the middle of the whole, like the whole super soldier thing, secret space program, all that Corey Good stuff was happening. I
So there was a lot
mean,
of
you know,
fantasy going around.
there
Yeah.
was a lot of that going around. Yeah, even like the whole James Casbolt, we won't talk about that. But it's a lot of stuff was going on back then, which people were buying into. So yeah, I believed it. You know, um, I believe she wanted to help people. Um, she comes across. She can be. How do I put it? She knows how to read people. She knows
She uses
how
cold
to.
reading.
Hmm?
She uses cold reading, which
Yeah.
is a magician's trick. They use generalizations and they cold read the subject to make them believe that they have some, psychic insight into them.
Hmm.
But generally, I was able, both myself, just so you're aware, Taj, I sent her a mentalist who agreed with me that she was using cold reading and she was using hypnotic induction techniques at the same time. So it's very easy, especially for somebody who's not familiar with magic or mentalism, to be enamored with some of the things that she does, right? Did she give you some sort of psychic readings and do the cold reading tricks and things on you as well?
I think I had a reading with her. I kind of like sometime in 2015. Um, I can't remember much about the reading to be honest. But I never sat in on her readings. We never talked about her readings or her clients. You know, that was all between her and the client. So
An important point I wanted to make is that there have been various people that have come forward who basically claimed that she would take the customer's money, but then she would get somebody else to write the reading that she would then deliver to the customer. Do you know if that's an accurate claim that some have made?
I've never seen that myself.
Okay.
Um, as far as I know, Sarah did all the readings because I sent. So this is how it worked. When on a daily basis, I would send her a schedule for the day. So I would go to the schedule and I would find the sessions for the day and I would message them to her. And those would all be sessions that have been pre-booked through the website and paid for through the website.
And how much can you estimate during some of the years that you worked with her? Because she is constantly claiming that she's a millionaire and she makes all of this money. And I think a lot of that is ego and not actual reality. Do you know, for example, the first year you worked with her and you saw all those bookings, like how much was she making in an average month or year when you first started with her?
When we first started, it was probably only a few thousand a month. So this would be like mid 2017. It wasn't until she was on Gaia TV that the big money started coming in. Really,
And what was the big money like per month or per
most
year?
the most she made in a month would probably be like 30 to 40,000 in a month.
Interesting.
And at that point, when she was popular on Gaia, she was booked maybe 3, 4 months ahead. So you can get a session with her for 3 months, 4 months. She was booked solid for, I think back then it was like 6 days a week, maybe 3 sessions a day.
And you never sat in on any of these readings? Are you aware that she gave the same reading? At least this is rumors and speculation. Take from it from what you will, and from sources of mine who are previous customers. I spoke with one person who got a reading, and then her husband got a reading, and the readings were virtually identical. Were you were you even aware that she was doing that? Because that's very common for psychics to just give the same general reading to everybody.
No,
For
because
example, a cold reading that is very common would be to give somebody a reading and assign them very positive traits. In other words, a fake psychic might say to you while you're getting a reading, "You're an honest person. So honest, in fact, that sometimes it gets you into trouble. You're the kind of person that is considered helpful, and when people need help, they come to you because they know they can count and depend on you. These are all things that people will readily accept and nod and agree with. And this is the kind of readings that in my research, she was giving people, just generally, you know. And these readings can be repeated through different people. So you didn't have any idea what was going on in these readings while you're managing her?
No, these were like phone calls, one-to-one. She'd be phoning someone. So
Okay.
I'm not, I'm not sat next to her. I'm in England and she's in America. So
That's fair
I,
enough. And we want to thank Trolley Troll Troll, who says this one's for the afternoon show. Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Big show support from Trolley Troll Troll. And we have Vamp Sith. Thanks, Steve, and thanks for talking, Taj. Yeah, thank you, Vamp Sith. So I just don't want to get too far behind and be reading super chats for a half hour after this. So at any point in time, even after we spoke, remember when we first spoke, I told you that she was telling me and other people that I had found that she could communicate with their nonverbal autistic children. And she told me that she was taking money from people to communicate with their nonverbal autistic children. And then she told me generally dumb things about my son, who, by the way, can't really speak at all. Like she said, oh, he wants you to paint his room blue. Things like that are kind of ridiculous. And I instantly knew that she was scamming people because one time she sent me a message saying, I'm communicating with your son right now. And he was sleeping, Tosh. He was totally asleep. So unless you can reach into his dreams and communicate with his dream self, were you aware of her taking money from people to talk to their nonverbal autistic children? And didn't that give you some reservations about her claims?
no, I wasn't aware of that. Again, like we never
I
discussed.
made you aware of that when we
Yeah,
talked the last time. Didn't
but
you look into it, or you didn't ask her about it, or you didn't have any
um,
concerns that she's telling people that she can communicate with nonverbal autistic children and taking allegedly, she told me that she was taking money from some clients to do that for them. You didn't have any concerns about that? That
mm,
maybe that's exploitative? And by the way, I'm not trying to be difficult to you. I know you're in a difficult position right now to try to explain things, and hindsight is always
it's
2020.
it's hard to explain because when you're there, you're like you just believe what she says. So it's like
I get it.
Sarah was like, I guess you could say Sarah was like family to me. So I would not have like any reason to question her. Like if she told me something, I would just believe it. And I think that's the same thing with anybody who's close to Sarah. She's very believable. I mean, I
And
know she's.
manipulative.
I
And
mean,
manipulative.
yeah, very manipulative, but she's also a compulsive liar. But
And
she's
let's
very.
get into that because you're aware of her true history, right? Because she claims a lot of things like her family. She claimed to me that she grew up in France, and I speak a little French, so I started speaking French to her,
Mhm,
and she couldn't speak a word of French, Tosh.
yeah.
She claimed that she's from a royal bloodline in France. Her family is. Do you know if that's correct? Do you
I'll
know
I'll give you a
where
brief.
she grew up?
I'll give
Yeah,
you a
give us a
brief.
brief overview of.
I'll give you a
Before
brief
you do that,
over.
thanks to Charles McDonald, who gifted 5 True Seekers memberships, and all these people win free memberships. That's why you got to hit the subscribe button, because Charles McDonald is going to be giving out more of these free memberships, and you could win one tonight, but you must be a subscriber. Thank you, Charles McDonald. All right, now back to her. The history is her entire is all of her claims about her entire history fake? You said she's a compulsive liar. That's been my experience with her as well.
Okay, so I'll give you a brief rundown of her childhood
Great.
thing because I've been speaking to her family. Um, so basically, the story is about her mum breaking her nose 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whatever. She keeps changing the number. That never happened. That happened to her sister. The story about her being left out in the snow with no shoes for days. That never happened to her. That was her brother. The story about growing up on military bases, on Edwards Air Force Base, all this kind of stuff. That never happened. She's never stepped foot on a military base in her life.
Yeah, and her first story was that she was brought up on military bases and then put into some secret programs and turned into a super soldier. But then
Yeah,
she retconned that into now I'm a psychic healer and multi-dimensional coach, whatever
she's
that
never been.
means, right?
So her grandfather was in the military. Okay, so but the thing is, her grandfather retired before she was born, so there would be no reason for her to be on a military base after that time. Her mother was like the Air Force brat. She was the one
Okay.
who grew up on military bases. Her mother. Okay, her mother grew up on military bases. Sarah's never stepped foot on a military base. Doesn't know anybody in the military. There was another story about, I think her grandfather knew or worked for Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, I checked the Ronald Reagan National Archives. In other words, I checked the Reagan Library. And if somebody worked for Reagan, they'd be in his archive because people don't know this, but everything a president does is painstakingly logged. If they have a meeting with somebody, it's all logged for their legacy to be put in there. So I got some of her family history and names, and I checked the National Archives, the Reagan Library.
Yeah, so
Nobody related to Sarah ever worked for Ronald Reagan, so that's a completely and totally fake claim that she has made.
she so this is what happened. Her grandfather worked security for Reagan when he visited Michigan for literally a couple of days. Yeah, so that's the connection there. He was, I think when a president visits a state or whatever, they use local military or police or whatever for security, and he worked for a couple of days, and that was it. That's the only connection with Ronald Reagan. So he never met, her grandfather never met Ronald Reagan, never knew him. He just provided security because he was in the military for a couple of days on a tour or a visit of the state. So
Yeah,
that,
well, that's a far cry from working for him during
yeah.
his
Well,
administration or
she,
something.
she exaggerates, obviously. She exaggerates.
Everybody, all these people do that. They exaggerate, they embellish, they turn the mountain into a molehill.
Yeah.
So,
So Sarah,
can I ask you too, like, and again, I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you, but you heard her original sort of superhero origin story of being a super soldier. And then she retconned that and sort of reinvented herself. Didn't that give you some concern? Like, which story is it, Sarah? Were you a super soldier, or now you're a psychic healer, and you forgot about being the super soldier and the black goo and being in the secret programs that turned you into a super soldier? That didn't concern you? That those are two
no,
wildly different stories
I mean, I
about
thought,
her origins.
as part of the whole super soldier thing, and she would have certain abilities, like psychic abilities or healing abilities or any stuff like that. I mean, that's the way I looked at it, So it didn't seem out of the ordinary, even though the whole thing was out of the ordinary, to be honest. But at the time, it didn't feel
Yeah,
particularly
pretty
unusual.
wild. I mean, to me, that was a huge red flag that she's a fraud. Like, first you're a super soldier, now you're a psychic healer.
Mm.
I didn't make the connection to maybe she got superpowers from being a super. I don't know. Now
Uh,
on to some
do you
of
want me to
the some.
Do you
Yeah,
want me
go
to
ahead.
go a little bit further forward on her childhood story?
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
she grew up in the United States from birth to around 16, and then when she was 16, she went to France with some other siblings and her mother, and she spent probably 4 or 5 years in France, and then they went to Cyprus for a couple of years, and then came back to France again. So she can't speak French because basically her sister told me she's too lazy to learn French. So
Well,
if
most people in France speak English. If you've ever been to France, like in my experience, you can get by without learning French if you're going to live there short term, I guess.
well, she was there for 4 or 5 years. The rest of the
Wow.
family could speak French, but she just never bothered to learn. So she needed to to read something and they would just translate it for her. So it's and I don't know if I want to really get into the whole abuse stuff about her claiming to be abused, because that's going to be all, a whole can of worms to open up. But
Well, is it enough to say that her abuse claims are not entirely accurate?
yeah, they're not entirely accurate. I've already told you about the broken nose and being thrown out in snow and all that kind of stuff. Is all a lie. So you can just,
Or she's borrowing stories from her siblings to make herself appear the victim.
yeah, she takes other people's stories and makes them her own, basically. Not just family members, but friends and that kind of thing as well.
And she
So
has been accused of plagiarizing a lot of the things that she talks about from other speakers. Were you
yeah,
aware of that?
yeah, she's been called out a few times on Facebook, literally copying and pasting someone's article or something from a website and not giving them credit for that article and saying that she wrote it.
Okay. And let me take a moment to recognize Review Tech Mongolia, who says, "Hey, Stephen, had a loss in the family recently. Just wanted to say your shows definitely helped keep me entertained. Thanks for the laughs and feltings." Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. Big time, long time show supporter, Review Tech Mongolia. And I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm glad if I could give you a laugh to get you through a tough time. And we want to thank God's Gladiator. This woman also targets people for relentless stalking, went through it for years. And I believe I saw the video that you made, sir. And thank you for your generosity and support and for speaking out. That's another one of her victims, right, Taj?
Yeah, I've spoken to Quincy, yeah.
Can we talk for a moment about her tactics that she has used and whether you were aware of some of the things that she was doing to her detractors or people that were critical of her? Because that's pretty dark. I'm aware of several women who have children who Sarah had a disagreement with because they were saying that essentially her superpowers were fake or they were critical of her on the internet. And suddenly they're having Child Protective Services knock on their door, sent by Sarah. Were you aware of these situations? And how do you feel about that now?
I was aware of a couple of times that she called CPS, but not the scale of like how many people and how many times.
It's a lot. It's a
She
lot
has.
of people.
Yeah, I know now, but Sarah. The way I can put it is she has like two lives. She has her public life and she has this hidden, like, I would say that she is definitely 100% a narcissist. And if you know the characteristics of a narcissist, they tend to hide a lot of things from family, friends, all that kind of stuff. And
Yes. She fits the profile of a narcissist very well. She never admits that she did anything wrong. I mean, I was kind of shocked when I busted her for the fake take you up through a Stargate medbed scam that she didn't at least acknowledge that it was wrong. Because for those unaware, her and two partners in Australia, Pete and Roxy, who are also new age scammers, were offering to take people through a Stargate up to a spaceship for a medbed session to meet the aliens and heal all that ails you. But it turns out it was just a Skype call. Were you aware that she was offering that? And didn't that give you any reason to be concerned that this is too much? This is too
this is the,
scammy?
this is the other thing. Whenever I bring up concerns about things, she would just dismiss them.
Okay,
So
so you did at various times bring up concerns about some
yeah.
of her offerings being too much or too scammy or
But the thing is, when you get into an argument with Sarah, she basically just switches off, and she won't talk to you for however long, or she'll wait for you to, apologize or something. It's always she always turns it around on you. So it's very
typical narcissistic behavior. Yeah.
very manipulative behavior. Um, so simply to keep the peace, I tried not to ask, too many questions. And I'm probably stupid for doing that. And I admit that, a lot of a lot of what Sarah has done and how she's got to where she is now is down to me.
It's due
You
to
know,
your help.
yeah,
You were very listen, I have a background in computer science, and I can tell you this, Taj, you did a very good job with her website and her marketing and all of that stuff. to get her more customers, or what I would call more victims. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of these new age spirit people, they do very effective marketing that's convincing to people.
yeah, and you know, I do take responsibility for my part that I played in getting her to, I'm the one who actually got her on Gaia TV. You know,
Okay.
she didn't want to go on Gaia TV. I had to literally I had to literally phone them up and hand her the phone. This happened in so it would have been the end of 2017. I received an email from Gaia TV saying that they wanted to speak to Sarah and that they wanted to come on George Noray's show, Beyond Belief.
Yes.
And for weeks, I told her about this, and she said she doesn't want to do it. She was never back then comfortable in front of the camera or even going up on stage on her own. She was not a confident speaker or anything like that. So she didn't want to do Gaia TV. And I think the last day before she was supposed to fly back home, I literally um, phoned up Gaia TV and said, "You need to take this call." And she went upstairs and spoke to someone at Gaia for like 30 minutes and came down and said, "Yeah, I'm going to be on Gaia TV in a few months." And if I hadn't made that call, I almost wish sometimes how different things would have been if I hadn't made
Yeah,
that
she would
call.
be she wouldn't have been able to scam near as many people. That little bit of fame really helped propel her, I would think. And there have been a lot of people that I think are very guilty of helping promote her, like George Norrie, like Jimmy Church, like some of these other people that, like you, I would ask them, like, doesn't any of this concern you? The people that she's making these strange claims to? You know, Taj, where it gets most predatory to me is, like, for example, you're aware I sent her a fake cancer patient. He wasn't sick. She claimed that she could diagnose people's illnesses even over the phone remotely. So I sent her a fake cancer patient. He went in undercover and pretended that he had terminal cancer. He only had 6 months to live, and had a healing session with her. And all she did was cold read him, run him through a typical hypnotic induction. And then she told him that she was shrinking his cancer cells and making them disappear. That is very predatory, Taj. That is like bottom feeding, to tell somebody you think has terminal cancer, I'll take your money and then I will. And to her credit, she did that one for free, that healing session, to demonstrate her superpowers, since I didn't believe that her powers were real. But still, again, there wasn't there, she did that she told somebody she thought was a terminal cancer patient, "I'm healing your cancer cells." Didn't that give you cause for concern? Because
I did speak to her about that. I can't actually remember specifically what she said, but yeah, that was concerning to me, and I did speak to her about that. But right now, I can't remember the excuse that she gave me.
so was
But
so recently you guys have this huge falling out, but was there some things that led up to this falling out that were sort of making you wake up to the reality that you're helping this woman scam everybody, and her
well,
claims are completely false? Can we get
basically,
into how did the turn happen? When did you start waking up and saying, like, this is wrong? Because I know, listen, regardless, I don't want people to think I'm being too tough on you. I'm just trying to have an honest
mm,
conversation here. Regardless of everything that I once thought about you, I know you have a conscience and that you're trying to do the right thing now. So what made you start changing your mind about her?
well, the thing we're going to talk about today, the whole Jason and Amanda thing.
Okay. All right.
She,
Yeah. Can you give us some background into these so-called shamanic retreats that she was offering people and what they're supposed to be getting?
they're not
Because
really
we saw what they got, Taj. We saw what they actually got, which is a
yeah.
trip to the emergency room, and one guy got a trip in a police car to jail.
Hmm.
But what is she supposed to be doing for these people? Is it like a shamanic
Um,
journey, or what is it?
she does things like Cambo sessions. I think the whole mushroom thing was just only for Jason and Amanda, but she does offer Cambo sessions where, so basically, she'll come to your home and stay there for a couple of days and do like Cambo is basically frog poison,
It's
and
a hallucinogen, though, right?
yeah. I mean, I've done Cambo as myself. But what you do is you take like an incense stick, you dip it in the poison, and then you burn it into your skin, and the poison's absorbed through your skin. But
And
you're not
just to be
supposed.
clear, she has no training in pharmacology, in general medicine, in chemistry. So she has no scientific background to be administering these dangerous substances to people. Would you
No,
agree with that?
she's had no training. She's not a shaman. She's, I mean, shamans have to, learn for years and years before they can do this stuff. So um, she's doing it on her own. She's offering Cambo sessions without what I would
Didn't
say.
didn't didn't you think that as her manager? Didn't you think that is dangerous and could
She
lead to
only started
some?
that last year, and yeah, I did question that, and that's why the whole thing with the whole Jason and Amanda thing. Um,
And to your
basically,
knowledge, has anybody else besides the couple in this body cam footage been hospitalized or had to get medical treatment due to her services?
yes. So,
Really? There's been others?
there's been that I'm aware of one other, yeah,
One other situation where someone was hospitalized due to her shamanic
yeah. That
journey.
person doesn't want to go public or anything, but it wasn't like a death thing, but um, it was a
They
cambo.
needed
It was a cambo session that went wrong,
and
basically.
they needed medical attention. So
Yes, yeah,
great. Yeah, this is why I say she's so dangerous to the public because
mm,
she has no qualifications to be administering these dangerous psychoactive chemicals to people. Or she doesn't have psychological training for how to deal with somebody having a schizoid, bad trip or, you know, it's just I think it's very dangerous that she be allowed to offer these services to the public. Do
um,
you agree with me on that
I
now after in
I agree with
hindsight?
you. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean the whole when that whole Jason and Amanda thing happened, um,
And
obviously,
for the just to be clear, Jason and Amanda is Jason and Amanda Harvey.
yeah,
Jason is the son of Steve Harvey, the famous comedian and host of Family Feud, and Amanda is his wife, and they were the people in the video that were having a really bad trip. Do
that's right.
you so does Sarah call you after this event and tell you what happened, or how do you find out what happened with this situation?
Tell me her version of what happened. You
Yeah,
know.
let's hear what she told you happened. What did
Mhm.
she tell you happened?
So I again, Sarah spent I think only the one night in hospital. So again, all this stuff that she's talking about in podcasts that she had to learn to walk and talk again, all this kind of stuff. That's all rubbish. She was only in hospital for one night, and she was released the next day. I think she called me. I think it was on her boyfriend's phone because the police kept her phone. In fact, the police still have her phone right now.
For
Um,
evidence, yeah.
yeah, and she explained what happened. She was in hospital. She didn't really mention too much about Amanda during that conversation. Um, she said that she was in hospital, that she died, um, and she'd come out. She was out now. She was with her boyfriend, and she was trying to get her phone, but the police were holding her phone. She didn't really say why. I guess now I know it was because they were going through her messages and things to find out about the whole drug thing and whether she's done this before and stuff like that. I mean, it's all in the police report that they
And
found
just
that.
to be clear as well, her boyfriend appears to be another fake sort of psychic healer guru type. He
Her
doesn't
current
have.
boy- her current boyfriend, yeah, but this was a different guy.
Oh,
Uh,
this is a different guy. Okay.
this is a different guy. I think this is the same guy who, yeah, this is the same guy who called you on your show, the pussy, the guy.
Yeah, the fake lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
somebody,
know,
Noka asked a very important question. Did you stop being her manager after the first medical incident that you claimed to have knowledge of, or did you continue?
I continued for a few months, yeah,
Okay.
because obviously Sarah gave me a different version of the story to the actual
Okay,
story.
yeah, she downplayed it, that it wasn't a big deal, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, she downplayed it. She did say that she went into the hospital. Amanda was in the hospital. She did say that she stopped breathing. Amanda stopped breathing. Um, when that all happened, yeah, it was, I don't know, very scary, I think. A scary situation. But Sarah, I put this, didn't take it very seriously, I don't think. She also, by the way, caused, when this happened, thousands of dollars of damage to the
To
Airbnb.
the Airbnb, she caused thousands. Did she give did she pay the
No,
damage money?
no, Jason paid it. Jason Harvey paid it.
And also,
Um,
this is a very important point. I hate to get off on a tangent, but the entire time you were her manager, did she pay federal income tax on the money that she was collecting from the public for these sessions? Did she pay?
no, not that I'm aware of, no.
She paid no income tax for since 2017.
No,
None.
none.
Did you do her books or her
No,
accounting or
no.
no? But you're just aware somehow
Yeah,
that she didn't pay any taxes. Did you raise that as a concern to her that like you got to
yeah.
pay the IRS a portion of your earnings?
I don't know, like, I'm not an accountant. I don't know about US tax laws and whatever, but yeah, I did make her aware about the taxes. She said, I can't remember specifically what she said, but yeah, something like, don't worry about it, or I'll take care of it, or something like that.
Did she refund the fee to the Harveys?
Mm, I don't think so, no.
Wow. She got him hospitalized and didn't even give him a refund. Nice. Are you aware of like what the Harveys think about this whole situation? Is it just like a nightmare for them that they want to forget and move on from, or
I can't talk. I can't talk for them really. I don't really want
I understand. I
to
understand.
talk for them.
So she tells you this downplayed version of what happened, making herself the victim somehow. Was there a point at which you became aware of what really transpired during these events?
Not until I, not until I left. It was only when I left.
Okay. And
But
tell us
basically,
about tell me what was the straw that broke the camel's back then? It was this event happening where you said, I don't want to work with this woman anymore. She's dangerous, or what was
it
your
was like
mindset in leaving?
it was like a cumulative thing. I think she started bringing in another guy to manage things, like Nick, and um, slowly but surely, I could see that she was like pushing me out, kind of thing, as her manager. I did question her about several things, and lots of things just didn't add up as to what she was saying. Um, and then probably around Christmas, I think we had a big argument um, because
And what was
I was
what
being
was the
asked to,
subject of the argument?
I was being asked to do more and more work, and I wasn't being paid. You know, so up until I wasn't paid for like 2 years, so
Wow,
a lot of the stuff I was doing simply out as a favor, kind of thing. You know,
makes
and
sense.
I was
Yeah.
being asked again and again. She would call me at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, "You need to send out this marketing email or something," you know, and it just got so, so many things. There's only so many times you can keep asking and asking for stuff that I'm not being paid to do any of this. You know, I'm not getting a percentage of your earnings or anything like that. And you're bringing in this other guy who is being paid, right? Why don't you ask him to do it? You know, and all this kind of stuff accumulated. And at Christmas, it just went, you know, I wouldn't say I lost it, but yeah, we had an argument about it. And I think at some point she did say that I would be paid, but then by the end of January and nothing had been agreed or happened, I decided to leave.
And just to
And
be clear, she's accusing you of stealing money from her accounts
mm,
or taking clients' money for bookings with her and not giving her the money or notifying him. Is any of those allegations at
um,
all accurate? Because it sounds to me
mm,
like she was stealing from you since you worked for her for free for 2 years and she never paid you. And this is typical narcissist behavior. Accuse your enemies of that which you do.
Yeah.
She's
In
saying you
fact,
stole from her. Is that
no.
where is she getting that from? Her asshole, or like does she have? Because she claims she has all this evidence, and that you're under criminal investigation, and we know that that is likely false.
Yeah, that's all false. She's actually owes me money. So we'll go back to like 2017, okay, when I set up the website and she started taking bookings. She didn't have a bank account or anything like that, so all the payments went through my PayPal account.
Wow.
Okay, so after a while, there was like so much money, like I told you, 20, 30,000 a month going through the PayPal account that PayPal offered us a loan, or offered Sarah a loan. And basically, what happened was she blew all the money, and PayPal came
What
after me.
what did she blow the money on? Are you
She bought a
aware?
car, I think a BMW, and then she rented a place in Sedona. I mean, she just spends money like, there's no tomorrow, basically.
Well, we've
And
heard that a lot about these grifters. David Wilcock makes $258,000 a year on YouTube alone, and it's barely enough to survive, he says. Corey Good too. He blew through millions. Like I don't know what these people spend their money on,
I don't know either.
because Sarah doesn't own a home. And this is interesting. Sarah's saying that I'm gonna she's gonna sue me and I'm gonna lose everything I own. Well, at least I own things. Like she doesn't own anything. She's renting houses with 5 roommates. So is a lot of her claims of being so rich and successful just bullshit?
Yeah, she has to keep up this image. This she takes photographs with wads of money and drives around in a Lexus and takes photographs in 5-star hotels and 5-star restaurants. But it's all an image.
She's living the good life on Instagram. Yeah.
It's an Instagram life. She's living an Instagram life, basically.
She spends it
Um,
on frog sweat. Garaji said she spends it on frog sweat. Well, thanks for lighting the mood, Garaji. So
um,
you have this.
that whole PayPal loan thing. She
Oh yeah,
spent.
let's continue that.
She spent the money. I was, I mean, I've got all the messages. I've got the PayPal stuff. We can go over all the receipts in another show. But she basically spent the money, left me with the loan, and we had to close the PayPal account basically because we couldn't pay back the loan.
Do you
And
recall how much that loan was for?
it was for around £22,000 or around $29,000.
Wow, she
And
blew
that was the
through 30
outstanding amount.
grand, and then she left you holding the bag.
She said she would pay me back, and again, I have proof that she said she would pay me back, and it never happened. Every time I brought up the loan, she would change the conversation or just brush it off or whatever. And I'm still getting letters from debt collectors about that loan.
So she
So
still owes you that $29,000, as
yeah,
she's
it's not gonna.
claiming that you stole money from her.
No. Um, I was only paid for like 1 year, so you have to remember now. I had a day job from 2017 to 2021. So I was never paid from 2017 to 2021 because I had a day job. I didn't need the money. I work in IT. I'd make pretty good money. So all the money
Yeah,
she made,
I worked in IT, and I can attest that's a pretty good paycheck.
yeah. So yeah, I was never paid for the first like 4 years, and I didn't ask for any money. Um, and then also another thing, Sarah has claimed that she's paid for all these holidays and trips and bought me a brand new BMW, all this stuff. That's all rubbish. I paid for all the trips, trips to France, Israel, Egypt, all the
So
road
you
trips.
paid for those.
I paid for those. Yeah. Um, Again, like I said, I make good money back then and I can pay for my own holidays. I can pay for my own car. I don't need her money. And even when I was working for her, people are saying, or she's saying, I was living off her. No, I wasn't living off her. I was her manager. I was her business manager, and I was paid to be her business manager. So I wasn't living off her.
Well, you were paid. You were paid for a short time. It does make me feel better to know that
It was only a year.
This wasn't. In other words, you didn't get paid for 2 years. Plus, she took out a loan for $29,000 in your name and didn't pay it back. Because that paints you in a little better of a light, Taj, than somebody that was right next to her wanting your cut of the take from all these victims. You know, it wasn't like that apparently for you. It wasn't.
No,
You weren't profit driven. You weren't
I was
being in.
never. You have to remember
You
when
were
I.
helping her because you thought. I get the impression that you were helping her because you thought that she was helping other people,
Hmm.
not so that you could take a piece of the scam. You know.
I mean, you have to remember when I met her in 2016, she had nothing. Max had just died. You know, she didn't have any money, no website, no clientele, no nothing. Within 2 years, within 2 years, she was
In
on Guide
fact, you
TV.
were paying her to be her manager. That's great. That's great. Yeah, this poor bastard got taken for a ride to nowhere. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I was like really just after the money, you
you
know,
would have kept going with her. You wouldn't have stopped. Yeah,
for the first 4 years, yeah, why would I, at her peak when she was making 20, 30 grand a month, I wasn't making anything. Why wouldn't I have gone to her and, taken that money then? Why would I wait, all this time? It just doesn't make,
yeah.
I
It
mean, her
appears
boss,
it appears to me that this these claims, these false claims that she has made against you, are simply to paint you in a bad light and make you the bad guy here, so that people don't, her followers just think you're a bad person, a meth addict, and you know, a thief. So don't believe the things that Taj is saying about poor Sarah. She's the victim here, which is
yeah,
entirely seems to be not the case. And we know she has a history of trying to vilify anybody that's critical of her on the internet, because I guess it affects her scams, right?
yeah, obviously she has to protect her image. Her image is number one, the number one thing. Once she loses that image, then the money stops coming in. So it doesn't matter who she treads on, who she backstabs, who she borrows, takes, borrows, steals, begs, whatever from. She will do it to get what she wants. She doesn't care about me, the people around her right now, her own family. She has 9 brothers and sisters who don't want nothing to do with her. 9 brothers and sisters, not one of them will pick up the phone and talk to her. That shows you the kind of person she is.
Yeah, that's interesting, and it just does kind of display what kind of person she is, because at some point people like that need to ask themselves, is everybody else really the problem, or am I the problem? If she can't get along with anybody, it doesn't seem like she does.
No, she will never take accountability for anything that she's done to anybody. It's always the other person's fault. So I don't think she's going to change. So she'll just keep on doing what she's doing until someone stops her.
Back to this event, I'm aware that the an arrest warrant was drafted for her for practicing medicine without a license, but I did get a letter from the state attorney, um, from the local municipality in which this event happened. But let me look for that. And while I do that, tell us more about this event with the Harveys and what you were aware of. And, at what point did you realize, like, this was really, really bad and she's not telling me the truth about what really happened?
Um, so let me explain like why they were there. Um, so Jason paid for the Cambo and the Airbnb. Sarah went to buy it in DC because that's where she was staying around that area then, and she drove down to Florida with the Cambo. And the first night that they did, I think it was Bufo and what was the other thing? Cambo. Yeah, they did the first night. They did Bufo and Cambo, and there was an actual shaman there that night, the night before this happened. Um, then this day, when it happened, for some reason, I don't know why, I never found this out. There was no shaman. The shaman wasn't there on this day, and on this day is when they did the mushrooms. And these mushrooms, they're called Enigma.
Yeah, they're extremely powerful hallucinogens.
Yeah.
The most powerful mushrooms, I believe, or so I'm told. I'm not an expert on mushrooms, so, but I was told by several people who indulge in these sort of things that Enigma is no joke. You have to be very, very careful with how much you take. And again, this comes back to she has no medical training, no training in pharmacology or pharmacy or medicine. So how does she know how much to give them? And do you think that she do? I mean, it seems obvious, but do you think she gave them too much?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know somebody who has taken this Enigma, and they tell me they took 0.5 gram, and they were like out of it for
12 hours.
a long time. That was half a
Yeah.
gram. I think in the video, I think Jason says they took 1 gram.
So
I'm not
she
sure.
double dosed them somehow. And
It
weren't
was.
they also taking some form of synthetic DMT along with these very powerful mushrooms?
I'm not aware of that, but I know that firstly, you can't do Cambo, Bufo, and mushrooms all within 24 hours. That is
Yeah,
completely like
that's inadvisable, I would think. Yes,
even doing Cambo and Bufo on that one day was probably not the best idea. To recover from Cambo takes,
a
at
couple
least a day.
weeks,
Well, I've done Cambo. You can be okay in like an
a day
hour.
or two. Oh
You can be
yeah,
you can
okay.
be okay in an hour. Bufo I've never done, but I've seen people do Bufo, videos, and I would say it would take you a few days to recover from that. Um, the thing is, when you take these medicines, they affect your, not just your whole system, your blood system, your heart, your everything, and that needs time to recover. You can't just next day go and do shrooms thinking that everything's going to be okay, especially the shrooms that she bought. If they had taken regular shrooms, they probably would have been all right. But
Yeah,
the thing that she bought, it's Enigma, yeah, it was a car crash, basically, as we've already seen the body cam footage. Um, but yeah, I mean, Amanda, as far as I know, stopped breathing in the Airbnb, and she was in hospital or incubated for 3 days. Sarah was obviously, completely hysterical, as you can see. She
yeah.
had,
We saw earlier today when I aired the footage. It was quite shocking when I first got this footage. And by the way, I just want to give a shout out and thanks to Spooky who edited it together. For those unaware, we didn't just get one body cam and be able to just broadcast it. We got like 7 from each of the officers that were responding. So Spooky had to painstakingly put that together so that we could see, you know, what happened without watching 7 hours of it. It's basically 7 different angles of the same event. So big shout out and thanks to Spooky for painstakingly. It took Spooky a week, I think, to edit that all together. And so was there a point at which you saw this body cam footage, and what was your thoughts when you first saw this?
um, yeah, I've seen the footage, and it was shocking because obviously I had no idea what actually really happened that day. I only know what Sarah told me, and yeah, once I saw the footage, yeah, I was. I mean, to be honest, everything's a lie now to me as far as Sarah's concerned. So, I really shouldn't be surprised that that was all a lie. Um, yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable the negligence, the whole scenario should never have even happened really. But I mean, to be honest, it could have been worse. Somebody could have died. You know, I know a lot of people. I want to address this. A lot of people think this is funny. They're laughing about it, making fun of Sarah. But you have to
There's
understand,
victims involved. Yeah,
there
there's
are, Jason and Amanda. Jason could have lost his wife here.
she was
And
in a really bad way. She was unconscious when the
yeah,
medical help
she was
arrived.
she was actually the one. I know you commented on the woman who was saying that she's dying. That was actually Amanda who was saying that. And yeah, to hear that and know what she's been through, what that family's been through because of Sarah's pure negligence putting them in that situation. Because
Well, yeah,
Harvey,
she's the ones that gave him the drugs, and she should have known better that that was too much to give them, or she should have known exactly what the dosage should
she
be. It
shouldn't have
sounds
been
like.
giving them. She shouldn't have been giving them the drugs in the first place. She's not a shaman. She has no clue what she's doing. So she shouldn't even been. You know, I mean, even if she, I don't even know what to say about that. She shouldn't have been doing it, and I didn't know that was what they were doing. As far as I knew, there's going to be like Cambo or something, and the same as any other like Cambo session she's done
And Taj,
before.
I want to share this letter that I got from the state attorney about this situation,
Okay.
just to clarify, because I had some questions. Because in the original police report of the event, they say that they drafted a warrant for her arrest. So my question is, why wasn't she arrested then? Because it appears that she fled the state shortly after the event. And I got this letter from the state attorney, Thomas Baccaradal. Pardon me if I'm getting that wrong. Okay, so complaint against Sarah R. Adams, and then they give the case numbers. The arrest warrant referenced above was denied for the following reasons. So they drafted an arrest warrant, but then the state attorney decided not to file the arrest warrant. Um, Florida Statute 458301 lays out legislative intent behind requiring physicians who practice medicine in Florida to obtain a license. That purpose is to ensure that every physician practicing in this state meets minimum requirements for safe practice and to prohibit those who fall below the minimum competency requirements or who otherwise present a danger to the public. The first part of this section notes that it can be difficult for the public to make well-informed decisions when it comes to selecting a physician. In other words, the intent of the statutes requiring physicians to obtain licenses is to protect unassuming patients from the dangers of those who are not trained in the field in which they hold themselves out to be experts. In this case, the subject describes herself as an, quote, intuitive healer and multidimensional coach, unquote, who connects with extraterrestrial beings. While she does discuss types of potions and magic rituals that she recommends, she also includes a disclaimer on her website that very explicitly states she is not a medical professional and her practice is in energy medicine. It further states that she is not diagnosing or treating the physical body, aka practicing medicine. What occurred in this case does not fit the definition of the practice of medicine under Florida statute. Yeah, I don't think this is practicing medicine either. And therefore, probable cause does not exist for practicing medicine without a license. Based on the subject's statements as well as video of the crime and the evidence found on the scene, there could be probable cause for delivery of psilocybin. But the items collected that presumably field tested for psilocybin should first be sent to the crime lab for conclusive testing. It is common that items will field test for psilocybin on scene, and then the lab test will come back as an entirely different substance. Once you have the results of the lab test, depending on the cooperation of the Harveys, the availability of the video and evidence obtained from the consent search of the suspect's phone, the case will be reevaluated for possession and or delivery of psilocybin or a controlled substance. If you have any questions, give me a call. Caitlin Lustgarden, Assistant State Attorney. So basically, they're not going to issue her arrest warrant for practicing medicine without a license, but they may issue an arrest warrant for possession and distribution of psilocybin, which is still a controlled substance in the state of Florida. Just want to put that on the record because people have had a lot of questions about if they drafted an arrest warrant, why was she not arrested? And are you aware, Taj, did she just flee the state? She left Florida right after this event?
I can't remember, to be honest. I know she stayed in Florida for a short time, and I think after this she went to somewhere like North Carolina, I think, maybe within a week or so.
I also wanted to mention that the police reports, which I guess I'll share on a different broadcast, we have so much to go through. The police reports mentioned that Sarah was interviewed by police on two separate occasions. And I filed a Freedom of Information Act request or right to know request with these officials. We're going to get to see the interviews that Sarah did with police right after this event, but it may take a week or two for them to get the footage to me. Apparently, both interviews were videotaped, or at least audio taped. They were a little unclear, but I believe they were videotaped. Do you think that she, Taj, do you think that she like went full wackadoo in those interviews and told people about her superpowers and stuff, or what do you think's going to be in those interviews?
Who knows? Nothing will shock me anymore, to be honest.
The public information officer just said, "Oh, those interviews are wild." That's what she said, and so I can't wait to see them. And by the way, we want to thank people for the support here. We're a viewer-supported show, so having the funds available to be able to just drop, because honestly, I don't know what we'll make on this entire story, but I want to thank the supporters and friends of the show. When you contribute, you give us the resources to bring you stories like this. So I'm sending a check tomorrow, and thanks to our benefactors and supporters who have made that possible, we're going to get to see her squirming in these police interviews about this whole event. So what's the aftermath of this? She just kind of flies home to another state and just kind of forgets about this happening and goes right on grifting and scamming people? Is she still offering these shamanic journeys to your knowledge, and what's going on?
I don't know. The old website was obviously taken down. I'm not sure why. She has this new website, sarahadamscoaching.com or something like that. It's not a particularly good website, in my opinion. I don't know if you've seen it. But
it's Sarah R. Adams Coaching.
Let me have a look if I can find it.
No, that's not it.
It's just sarahadamscoaching.com.
Yeah, we could take a look and see what services that she is offering the public after this event. I don't believe that she should legally be allowed to offer any services to the public, because I believe that she is a danger to the public, to public health. Do you agree with that statement, Taj?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Right, let me see now. Where the hell is the website? I have it on the screen. Here we go. Let's restore your soul's high-frequency reality template. Free 15-minute consultation call. We'll create your personal plan for high-frequency transformation. Click the portals below to learn more. Oh, she could do a cosmic detox, multi-dimensional coaching, superhuman training program. Is she selling people superpowers?
I don't know. I haven't really looked at the website recently. But, yeah, these are all the things she's doing currently.
Galactic Starseed training program. Twin Flame. Medbed service.
She's selling a PEMF device as well now.
Energetic medbed device. State-of-the-art healing technology. This is a scam, but you know that already, don't you, Taj?
Yeah.
Complete private system used by former Baywatch star Bianca Markolo. Interesting. Pain-free golf within days. Trusted by NASA. Own the future of real medbed technology. $28,000. They made it affordable, Taj, so everyone can have access to it at its price, which is usually $40K. And not a medical device. Not a medical device. You say it's a healing device. How is it not a medical device then? State-of-the-art healing technology. Medbed device, not a medical device.
I can't see that page you're reading from. So.
Oh, I apologize. Here we go.
All right.
This is the medbed. This is the medbed scam she's running now.
All right. Okay, yeah.
Remember, she's run 2 previous medbed scams. Besides this, Tesla's PMF medbed device, but then at the state-of-the-art medical technology, healing technology. But then at the bottom, there's a disclaimer that says this is not a medical device. Not a medical device. Individual experiences vary.
Right.
We can book a 15-minute consult to learn more. Were you aware of her selling this before you parted ways? And
No, this is all new.
this is
It's
all
got everything on the new website's all new, really.
Oh, so this is new
Finance.
scams.
This
Yeah.
is all new stuff that she's doing.
Wow. And here's the Superhuman Training Program by Sarah Adams. She's been extraordinarily blessed to have coached many blessed souls while traveling to over 40 countries. Has she traveled to 40 countries?
No, that's a lie. That's 100% lie. Yeah.
So she's lying right in her own marketing materials. Cleansing and clearing, past life cleansing, cellular and organ cleansing, organ whispering, Akashic records, traveling to sacred places, working with the 4 elements, time travel, remote viewing, astral projection. I got to go to, what state is she currently residing in, Taj? Do you know?
She's in California, I believe.
Oh, that may be why she's allowed to get away with this. California's a pretty liberal state. But I'd love to ask the state attorney of California why she's allowed to offer this stuff and lie to people in her own marketing materials. This is crazy. Time and energy management, self-mastery practices, connecting to nature's wisdom, sacred geometry, activation, sacred rituals and practices, intuitive development. I just don't understand how she's able to legally offer this stuff, Taj, and get away with it, right? I mean, it's crazy to me that she can just offer these. She's basically saying that she'll teach you how to have superpowers, superhuman activation, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank Perro, for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. Much appreciated. So after the separation, Taj, she starts making these accusations against you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when I left in February, because I hadn't been paid for like a year, I transferred some money and my bank account was frozen because she reported me for fraud.
Nice.
It took about 2 weeks, but I provided evidence to my bank that the money was owed. I provided evidence of all the wire transfers that had been made to my bank account from hers, and they took my side. They unfroze my bank account, returned the money, and Sarah was not very happy about that. So she's decided to go on this smear campaign against me. Allegedly, she's claiming I have taken $100,000, and also that Chase Bank has refunded this $100,000. So,
And that is not the case, is it?
no, because no one from Chase or my bank or anybody has contacted me to ask about this alleged $100,000 that has been taken. It's completely ridiculous that she claims that I've taken this money. You know, I drive around in a 16-year-old BMW, and she's driving around in a brand new Lexus. So who do you think is taking this money?
Yeah. And
You know,
excellent question from Spooky. People want to hear about Sarah and Max. People are claiming that Sarah let Max die, or
I'd rather talk about it on the show with Vanessa. She knows.
okay, we're going to have Max Spear's mom, Vanessa, on with Taj in a future show.
Vanessa will be coming on later to talk about. I mean, I do know things about the relationship with Max Spears, but I would prefer that Vanessa is here to
absolutely
collaborate or whatever. What I know.
I agree with you. And where I wanted to ask you too. I know you were aware of the taking people up through a Stargate and medbed sessions that were a Skype call, but wasn't Sarah involved with this Arcturus Ra who took she was part of that medbed scam as well, perhaps, allegedly, wherein this guy glued a bunch of magnets inside a tanning booth and painted it and took it to...
Yeah.
She was going to offer sessions in that for hundreds of dollars, I believe, right? until I busted that scam.
I don't know what happened with that. Sarah never actually offered sessions with Arcturus Ra. I did actually see that bed when I was in Sedona.
It's very
And
dangerous, by the way, according to doctors. Like, for example, Taj, I have a coiling procedure that was to repair an aneurysm in my brain. And if I were to lay on that, I could stroke out and die because of the powerful magnets. They would affect my coiling in my head. And this Arcturus Ra just was letting anybody, if you have a pacemaker, if you have any metal in your body, this could be very, very dangerous. I thought that she was directly connected to that. So thank you for, I guess, clarifying. I was told that she went to Arcturus Ra to make a physical med bed after I kept hammering that she doesn't even have a med bed. How is she offering med bed sessions when it's just a Skype call? And then this guy comes along and makes a med bed out of a tanning, basically out of a tanning bed.
yeah, I mean, we never.
She wasn't. So she wasn't connected to Arcturus Ra.
No, I think they were going to do that, but whatever. This is another thing that I need to talk about. Sarah would always talk about, we're going to do this, we're going to do a Netflix show, we're going to do that, and it never materializes for whatever reason. Like,
Nothing ever comes. Yeah.
Like someone would buy a package for $5,000 or something like that, and I would say, okay, where do I send the invoice? When are they going to pay? And then weeks would go by and nothing happens, and the money doesn't come. For whatever reason, that person changes their mind, or they might seen something online about Sarah or whatever. They just change their mind. Yeah.
Well, I talked to one of the organizers of Conscious Life Expo, and I shared with them the sourcing that I had on how dangerous that medbed was, and they were like shocked that he was just letting people sit in this thing with no disclaimer or no. Because, like I said, if you have metal at all in your body and you're laying on this thing with magnets, very powerful, I think they were neodymium magnets glued all inside it, it could cause strokes, heart attacks. If you have a pacemaker, it's very dangerous. And this highlights the danger of these fake psychic healers and their bullshit, And I had a feeling, I believe that I had good sourcing that she was going to open an office in Sedona with Arcturus. And again, this is from a source, so if it's incorrect, I apologize. Sarah's free to correct the record. They were going to open an office in Sedona and then charge people $300 for hour-long sessions in this fake med bed.
I know.
You're aware of that? Okay.
No, I know she's doing this thing with Brian Seng. Brian Seng claims to have bought a property in Sedona that's going to be some kind of,
it's going to be a wackadoo retreat. Yeah.
Like a retreat type place.
Wackadoo camp, Taj. You go get your wackadoo on with a bunch of stinky crystal hippie bitches that smell like patchouli oil and jasmine oil.
The thing is, this is the kind of thing that you hear all the time and nothing materializes. So I would not be surprised if nothing happens with that. But yeah, this is what I was saying before. Like, she will say things that, there was going to be like a Netflix show and never materialized, packages that never materialized, just lots of things that, she would say are going to happen that never actually happen. And
yeah, this is her ego. Oh, I'm going to be on Netflix. And then it never happens, right?
Yeah. There was like a thing happening with Netflix, but I think the whole Jason Harvey and Amanda Harvey thing messed that up, really, because they were supposed to be part of it.
Suffer, Netflix deal, suffer. Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, I forgot my train of thought what I was saying. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to show you some of this body cam footage, specifically the part in which she kind of freaks out, and get your perspective on this whole event. Because to me, it's almost like karma coming for her, Taj. Like, she puts herself out there as this spiritual guru that can help all these people. And what happened to these people is a literal nightmare.
I can't die. Do you understand? I can't die. I can't come back. No! You kill me or whatever, I can't come.
And just to be clear, I believe that the footage mentions this, but they had to sedate her with ketamine. Isn't that correct? Sarah.
Yeah, they had to sedate her. I think you can hear.
You can hear them administer that they're giving her this many milligrams of ketamine. Yeah.
That's why they say, I think one of the guys says 150, because they have to work out how much she weighs to work out how much ketamine to give her.
I know you said that this wasn't funny, but at one point it was funny, Taj, because they called her weight at 150 pounds. And she seemed to suddenly become lucid, like 150 pounds, right? They're telling her they're there to help her. She thinks they're going to kill her.
You can't, but if you try to kill me, my consciousness is fucked! No, I know what to do! You understand?
She just said my consciousness is fucked, Taj.
Yeah, I know.
Basically, she's admitting that she's out of her mind on drugs.
Mm.
And you provided me with a bunch of things that she has posted on social media about she won't work with people on drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty ridiculous considering that apparently part of her business is just dealing drugs to, people for their shamanic purposes or whatever.
She likes to, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
She likes to be like anti-drugs, anti-alcohol, but there's videos of her drinking straight out of a bottle. There's, obviously this video of her overdosing, but she likes to portray herself as very much anti all this stuff when she's doing it herself.
Yeah. It looks like
they are taking care of her. She's having a bad reaction to it.
Yeah, I would say that's a bad reaction.
Just keep yourself calm. You'll be good.
And this poor guy's tripping himself while she's screaming like a lunatic. That can't be good for your psychological feelings. Yeah.
All right. Hey, if it's easier for you guys, if somebody wants to unlock the front door, that's fine as well.
You're getting if you kill me, I don't know what to do! No!
Wow.
Help me! Help me! Even if we have to RSI her. No!
Leg down.
Yeah, I would call this a bad trip, Taj, right? It's quite a bad trip.
If you kill me!
This is what you get when you hire Sarah R. Adams, friends. Some spiritual guru. Wow.
Cross your ankles.
Help me!
I'm gonna cross your ankles over. Yeah, we got it. We got enough people.
If you kill me, I'll just come back! I don't know what to do!
Wow.
No, I can't die! I can't come back! I can't die if you kill me! You can't kill me!
Call her at 150.
You're calling me at 150? I
She
can't die! But I can't come back. I don't know what to do. Please help me.
Just hold tight.
Please? No. I don't know if you kill me. Help me!
thinks the paramedics are trying to kill her. Definitely a bad reaction.
No. I can't come back.
It's important to note that she's naked during this as well.
Yeah.
Both the females were naked when the police arrived, for whatever reason, and this guy's partially clothed.
Help me! There's no way you're gonna be able to help me!
I believe that's the female victim customer being taken out in a stretcher.
That's Amanda, yeah.
Yeah, that's Amanda. Wow. Just shocking. This is what you get when you hire a psychic healer. Telling her to relax and stop yelling. Yes, she was hospitalized for a day and then she was released. So she made it through this.
I say 150 pounds ish. Whatever. There she goes.
Kill me!
She definitely didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, they need her weight
I told you!
to work out to tranquilizer dose.
Wife that we just took out. They're all on mushrooms. They took about a
She might burn through
He
the
seems to be doing better than that one as well as her.
Look at the cop, so calm.
She's delirious. He says he's feeling fine at the moment, but he still wants to be looked at because he knows he's not right.
I think I'll probably need to check out. Yeah.
20 milligram of ketamine for you.
Do you have water in the house? I know you're asking for water. Bottled water or something?
I think she's knocked out now.
Yeah, well, they're knocking her out with the ketamine. I mean, when they have to, when the police and the medical professionals have to sedate you, that's pretty serious.
I think it's more so she doesn't harm herself or harm anybody else.
Yeah, they don't want her to hurt herself or anybody else. Yeah.
They said just keep relaxing. You're doing fine.
And here's an ambulance. Did you feel a little betrayed when you saw this, Taj, based on what she lied to you about this event?
I was horrified, to say the least, when I watched this footage, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't realise it was this bad.
It's pretty bad, Taj. This is pretty
Yeah.
bad.
It's about as bad as it gets, really.
Like right now?
I should have done it already. No, they're in great
Okay.
shape.
They're attending to the other drawer right now.
Yeah, they know that guy could start tripping out at any minute, yeah, any second.
Right now, I guess he's feeling the effects.
Reconnecting.
Let me go check them.
Yeah, there was tasers and a gun at the beginning, but after that, to make someone deal with drugs, this is a special case of
I'm
crazy.
gonna go check on Pat.
She even got a free ketamine trip. Look at that, friends. Do enough mushrooms, you get free ketamine. Yeah. You know what? You know what else, Taj, is kind of stupid. But I thought of this. Are you aware? Does Sarah have medical insurance?
I don't think so. No.
So all of her treatment in this hospital for a full-on day, you know, a day-long hospital stay or overnight hospital stay is pretty expensive. The paramedic ride, the ambulance ride, the ketamine, the treatments that she received, all likely paid for by the taxpayers. Because if she doesn't have medical insurance, she's not going to pay for this. It's going to be $10,000, right? And you said there was also thousands of dollars of damage done to the Airbnb that she didn't pay for, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think we've seen enough of that. I wanted to get into some other issues with you. So after the separation, she starts trashing you, claiming you're stealing money from her when you clearly have the receipts that you didn't steal money from her. I mean, she's claiming you're stalking and harassing her. But all I've seen so far is you talking about how dangerous she is and how she could hurt somebody, right?
I'm not talking to her. I haven't contacted her or her team since March, basically, when I handed over the website and the Facebook page and everything to her business manager, Nick. And I haven't spoken to anybody, her or anybody in her team since then. No
And let's
contact, no
let's
nothing.
get into the people that are specifically some of these people that are threatening you. We have this Brian Seng, who was a Corey Good Kool-Aid drinking cult member, SSP clown. He threatened you verbally, and you recorded it, and you broadcast that, or you released that. Tell us about the threats coming from her camp towards you.
Well, the Brian Sang one was a bit of a joke, really, to be honest. I mean, it was only like a 5-minute call. And again, he's claiming, I think he did a live like a month ago or something,
Mhm.
claimed this was a 45-minute call. Yeah, well, no, it wasn't. I can show the Facebook Messenger.
He
You know,
clearly threatened you. He
yeah,
clearly threatened you, and you recorded it. He wasn't aware he was being recorded. So good for you for exposing.
and
You know,
I've
and isn't it
explained.
funny? All these love and light SSP people, they're running around threatening their critics. This is right out of Corey Good's playbook or Scientology's playbook. You just destroy anybody that's critical of your cult.
It was only a 5-minute call, but it started off pretty much, how I expected, really, to be honest. I only took the call because I think this was just after he'd done his conference in Florida, and I figured, oh, what happened was he called me, and I was on another call with somebody else, and so I didn't want to hang up on that person, and then I called him like 5-6 minutes later, and the only reason I called him back was I thought maybe he figured out that Sarah's a scammer, or maybe he had wanted to ask me something about Sarah. But within
Mhm.
like 30 seconds of the call, I knew straight away that, yep, he's a flying monkey, basically.
Yeah. And by the way, friends, we call all of Sarah's retarded cult-like followers flying monkeys because she sends them out to attack her critics. I've been a victim of the flying monkeys. Taj have. I'm aware of many, many other people.
Yeah. And if you listen to that recording, you can actually hear Sarah at the beginning of the
Yeah,
call.
she's
In the background.
prompting him what to
Yeah.
say and what to tell you
And
and what to threaten you with.
yeah. So he basically says something like, you can do this the easy way or the hard way, or I've got $2 million and $10 million to come after you with, and all this rubbish, basically.
And he's a
And
he's a trust fund kid, is that correct? With a lot of money and
yeah,
no
well,
real
yeah,
job or yeah.
he's got nothing better to do, basically, so than threaten people.
Yeah, and
Um,
I just want to put this on the record. You people defending this woman, watch this body cam footage again and ask yourself if you would like Sarah to offer her services to your loved ones, to your friends, to your family, to your neighbors that you care about. The people that are critical of Sarah are doing so, in my view, in the right light. We're this isn't about stalking or harassing or anything like that, as she has claimed. This is about trying to protect the public from a dangerous psychopath who's gonna. She very easily could have killed this woman, Taj.
yeah,
If that dose was a little bit higher, she could have jumped off the balcony, ran in the water and drowned. 100 things could have happened that could have resulted in the end of this woman's life. So thank God this wasn't even worse. But this should be a wake up call. And
and again, I should
all of
say,
you people defending her, watch this entire body cam footage. It's in a video section, unredacted and without commentary over it, so you can really see what's happening or what she did to these people. Before you attack people that are critical of her, watch this footage and again ask yourself, would you want her offering that to your wife, to your son, to your daughter, to your loved ones? She could kill someone with this strange concoction of hallucinogens and drugs that she doesn't know what she's doing with.
I just want to repeat that this is not the first time she's done this. Okay, so this is not a one-off incident. Okay,
So multiple times she's gotten people hospitalized with this so-called shamanic journey she offers, right?
yeah,
Very, very dangerous. And I, for one, I think she should be in prison for this event, especially. I mean, I don't understand the authorities. They clearly, you could tell from the body cam, this Harvey says, they ask him, where did you get the mushrooms? And he says, from her, from Sarah. So why wasn't she arrested for dealing illegal drugs right on the spot? Why did they? I guess maybe because of the medical situation, they wanted to resolve that for her first, right? And woke center left. Sorry, can you recap what happened? Miscalculated entheogen dose. What substances? Apparently, it was Enigma mushrooms, which are very, very, very the strongest, I'm told, strongest hallucinogenic mushrooms you could get. And apparently they may have also involved some sort of psilocybin and or synthetic DMT as referenced in the body cam footage when the police were talking to them. But thank you for your kindness, Woke Center Left, and your support of the show. Much appreciated. So, Taj, where does this leave you now? Like, what? How do you feel about psychic healers in general after this? What some would say is sort of a horrific experience with this total fraud.
I think, look, I've done ayahuasca, I've done Cambo. If you do it with a proper, real shaman, it's perfectly safe. But you don't want to be going to these charlatans, to people who have no idea what they're doing. I mean, when I did my ayahuasca experience, it was, I don't know. And Sarah did the ayahuasca with me as well at that time in Mexico. But we were with a shaman, like a guy who was a shaman for like 20, 30 years. It was in a controlled environment.
I know several people that had addiction problems, and something like that was very, very helpful.
Yeah,
You know,
in the proper environment.
I know somebody that was a falling down alcoholic for 20 years, and he did one ayahuasca session with a good shaman, and he never drank again. So, they're starting to finally study these things. Modern medicine is very far behind. They shouldn't be scheduled as no medical benefit when clearly there is. And we see ibogaine treatments now for post-traumatic stress and other things that are certainly medically beneficial, but you have to go to a real professional. Don't go to some crazy bitch on the internet that says she can open stargates and talk to aliens, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely do your research before giving anybody money to do ayahuasca, Cambo,
Do you
Bupo.
know anything about why they were naked? Why was everybody naked?
I don't know.
Do you think there was some weird sex shit going on between the three of them, or I mean, you
I
can
don't want to comment.
speculate. You don't want to speculate,
You
do
can
you?
speculate. I don't know.
Thanks for the question, Kai Balin. Yeah, and we want to take a moment to thank Rex Racer over on Kick, who became a subscriber. So big ups and shout out to Rex Racer for becoming a Kick subscriber. Let's keep the Kick support going. It really, really does help. And thank you to those who have gifted subscriptions. We had Not Even Numerals gifted a sub, and Dr. Dumashev gifted a sub recently, and Mr. Ree also subscribed recently on Kick. So thank you for that. So I don't even know what else we should talk about, Taj. Do you have anything else that you think is important to sort of exposing her? The testimonials.
Um,
People have accused her of writing her own testimonials. Do you know that to be the case, or what?
Now, what I will say is all of the testimonials that were on her website came, I guess, at the beginning, like 2017, 2018. And I do think she was helping people with like detoxing and stuff like that. But then once the whole Gaia stuff happened, I think the money like went to her head kind of thing. Like a lot of
Well,
things.
imagine going from $2,000 a month to 30,000.
Yeah.
That's got to be a little bit. I would be sort of intoxicated by that.
Yeah. And the focus came away from helping the clients and went towards making more money is what happened basically. So, it came to a point where she would be cancelling sessions just so she could go do her hair or something, or she would be on her phone doing a session while posting on Instagram or stuff like that. And clients would email me and call me and say, I spent $250 for a 1 hour session, with Sarah, and I saw she was posting on Facebook while she's doing a
she was
session with me.
barely there. Yeah, barely there for the 250.
Or she's, cooking or driving or whatever. If someone pays $250 for a 1 hour session, they expect Sarah to be focused on them for that 1 hour, not posting on Facebook and Instagram or doing something else. So at that point, it became more about money for her. And I think that it's been like that pretty much ever since. And she tends to only, how would I say this? She tends to only hang around with people who can benefit her. Okay, so she will evaluate someone and say, how can you help me? Do you know somebody who I want to connect to, a celebrity? Do you have money? Do you have this or that or whatever? And then she will use and manipulate her way into that person's life.
Kind of
And
like she's done to Brian Singh, right?
yeah,
Kind of
I
like
mean,
she did
Brian,
to you. You had some technical skills that she needed in order to further her career, so she manipulated you into helping her and do her website. Yeah,
yeah,
and listen, I'm hesitant to ask this, but so many people are curious about this. Yeah, I wouldn't be doing my job, and it might be uncomfortable for you. But like, were you like romantically attracted to her, and maybe that played a part in why you were so willing to spend your time and money to help her? And was there
uh,
any physical relationship between the two of you at any point in time? Everybody's asking about this.
no, there was no physical relationship between the two of us. We had this discussion very early in the friendship that there couldn't be any like romantic. I mean, we were like brother and sister, kind of thing. So
Fair enough.
um,
Well, that should
yeah,
answer to the people who are curious, because a lot of people are saying, well, this guy was cucked and he was simping for her, which it appears that way from an outsider looking in. Like, why else would this guy work for 2 years for free? Unless he was trying to get in her pants or something. I'm sure you've been accused of that, right?
yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
again, like I said before, she was well. I was like, I sort of treated her like family. I mean, I talked to Sarah for hours every day. Sometimes. So I talked to her more than all my family and friends put together.
So you were very close. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she told me. Well, I thought she told me everything. I'm finding out that she didn't really tell me everything. She told me what I wanted to hear. That's for sure. So yeah, I treated her like family. My family had met Sarah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think
People are saying she manipulated you, Taj.
yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that.
Willow says you were in love. I know you've been accused of being in love with her, and that could explain why
Mhm,
you did so many things for her and didn't see through her scams, right?
yeah. Well, I wanted to believe her. When you're, someone you treat like family, she was my best friend. You don't want to believe that she's lying to you. You know, Maybe I was in denial for a while. That I thought, no, she would never do that to me. She would never lie to me. She would never.
Kevin Alt is asking it. Did you give her money? You did. Well, she took $29,000 in the form of a loan in your name and spent it and never returned the money. So,
Also, this is another thing I want to talk about quickly. The way she would spend money, there would never be any money in her bank account at the end of the month to pay bills. So I would pay her bills, right? I would pay her
wow,
card,
wow.
whatever, and then I would transfer the money when the money came in. She had my bank card on her Apple Pay, so if she ran out of money, she could just use my card to buy groceries or gas or whatever, right? And I got all those statements as well, by the way, when we do a show, later
Maybe a
on.
little more data centric. Yeah, you could show some
I can show
receipts.
you all that, and she might even have my cards on her Apple Pay right now because I don't think she's removed it. But yeah, I mean, and of course, when she spent money on my card, I would have to transfer that money from her account when it came in. And it's not, it doesn't come to $100,000, right? So, and I've got
Do you have
my
any idea how was she spending $20,000 to $30,000 a month? Because again, she didn't own a home. I think there's rumors that one of her cars was leased. Can you confirm or deny that? Like she's
uh,
bragging about these expensive brand new cars that she has, but somebody said that they were a lease or rental. They weren't.
no, her current car, the Lexus, is financed. I think
Okay,
she
so
put,
she does own that.
yeah, she sort of owns that, I guess, as long as she keeps up with the payments. But
But how does she spend $20,000 or $30,000 a
I,
month?
I
Just
couldn't tell you.
living
I
the high life, like you said, expensive restaurants, expensive
Yeah,
clothing, expensive
yeah.
spa
Just
treatments for herself.
Instagram life, keeping up that Instagram image of I'm successful, just so she can grift a bit more. When you give the impression that you're hanging around with successful people, you attract more successful people. You can't be seen, you know, living, in a cheap or driving around in a cheap car or living in a neighborhood that's not so great. You have to give the image
You
to
have
everybody.
project an image of success so that
Yeah,
people will trust you. Yeah. This is a common tactic that many people use. You
that's
know,
exactly yeah.
yeah, it's pretty grimy what she has done to people, and to spend so much money on basically nonsense and still not have a pot to piss in. I've always been fascinated with her, like claiming she makes all this money, but she always seems to need like 4 or 5 roommates, which does never made any sense to me. Can you explain that part of it?
The way I will explain that is, you've seen the video of her room, right?
Yeah, she literally had shit in her bathtub, and she looked like her room looked like a hoarder's mess nightmare.
Yeah, and she's done that to every place where she's lived. Okay, she can't, as far as well, this is my opinion. Yeah, she can't live on her own because she doesn't know how to look after herself. I booked all of her flights, hotels. I paid her bills. Pretty much did everything that most normal people would be able to do for themselves. And she just doesn't know. Like, I don't know if it was her upbringing or whatever, her education or lack of education, that she just doesn't know how to do. She doesn't have any life skills. I mean, she's a 40-year-old woman with no
Who
life
ca-
skills.
who doesn't know how to write a check and pay a bill? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why she has roommates who can help her with that stuff. So, I mean, the only time I know of that she's lived on her own, since I've known her anyway, was when she was filming at Gaia, and that was maybe like 2 months, you know. And the rest of the time, she has had pretty much, yeah, all the time she's had roommates during that time.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to me if somebody's making huge amounts of money that they would live with, 4 or 5 roommates or however many roommates, or that they would rent a room in somebody else's house.
Hmm.
If you're making that much money, you get your own place, I would think, like most adults would, right? It just doesn't make, it
Well,
never made sense to me.
I sort of like, you laughed about this before, that Sarah's like ghetto rich, right? She sees 5 grand in her bank account, she goes and spends 5 grand, but at the end of the month, she has no money for bills.
I've known many people like that. I grew up on the mean streets of Philly. I once had a roommate who would try to not pay me the rent because he bought expensive sneakers right before the rent was due. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a little short. Can't you cover me?" Like, no, you dumbass. You're the one that bought $300 Nikes. And by the way, our rent combined between the two of us was $350. So
Right.
like, why are you buying $300 sneakers when you owe 175 in rent in 2 days? Like there's so many people like that. He spent all of his money on designer clothes and expensive sneakers, and meanwhile we're living in a ghetto in Kensington. It doesn't make any sense. It never
Yeah.
made sense to me. But there's many people like that, so she's just living this high life, high society. I do know that yeah, I would call it an Instagram life, right? Like take pictures of expensive meals that you're having, take pictures of spa treatments you're getting. One other thing I wanted to get into is, many people have said, and of course this is rumors and speculation, but we'll talk about it with that in mind, that Sarah suffers from some sort of body dysmorphia disorder where she keeps getting plastic surgeries and things. Do you know how much she spent on plastic surgeries and how many different surgical procedures she's had, and maybe why she's going that route?
Well, again, I can only tell you what Sarah told me, which you can believe or you can not believe.
Okay.
So the first time she had a nose job, and that was because her mother apparently broke her nose. But we already know now that that's a lie, that her mother never broke her nose. So why she got that nose job, I have no idea. She also said, I think her nose reminds her of her mother or something like that. But um, I don't know about the surgery. That is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. She's had 3 nose jobs. Um, she's had a boob job, obviously. She's had eye lift, lip lift, facial stuff. I believe she's had cheek implants. allegedly. But I don't know. She's had stuff done that I found out. So when she has her surgery, obviously I will manage all the appointments. I pay, make the payments and everything. But I found out after I quit that she's had surgery that I don't know about, that she's paid for in cash or whatever, or she's put on. I think she got last year. She got a what's it called? A care credit card. It's like a card to pay for like medical expenses. I think.
Sure.
I thought she got that because of the whole thing that happened with Jason and Amanda. I thought she had to put that on that care credit card. But since I quit, I found out that she had other stuff put on that card as well during that summer, so summer last year. But yeah, she is or does seem to be addicted to
Cosmetic surgeries, yes.
surgery. Yeah.
I find it interesting too that she's always attacking other women on the internet for using filters and things like that. And meanwhile, her whole body is filtered at this point. She's so filled with plastic, and my favorite was the lip thing. Like she was getting those big fat blowjob lips done. Like I don't think that's attractive myself. I don't understand people getting lip injections so they have big BJ lips, right? Like doesn't she looks like an entirely different person than when you first met her, doesn't she?
She looks, yeah, I mean, she looks, yeah, unrecognizable to me. But I mean, she looked fine when I first met her when she was with Max. I don't know.
Yeah, she's a walking filter, somebody said. Yeah, Sam says she's a walking filter. But I don't understand why you'd be on the internet attacking women who are using filters on their phone.
Sarah uses filters. Sarah
of course,
has an app on her phone, like a Photoshop app on her phone. This is the other thing, because I see all the payments that go through on her account because I manage the finances. I get emails every time she buys an app. So she buys a Photoshop app, she buys one of these touch-up apps or whatever.
So she's busting everybody's balls about using filters, and you're watching her buy filters, right?
Right, yeah.
It's interesting. I was trying to find. Oh, I did find her. She's got me blocked on most social media, but yeah, the photos of her really don't. I don't think they do her justice, and I don't like any woman that has that many selfies. Tosh, she's got 883 selfies on Facebook alone, and then she's got thousands of them on Facebook. So, do you think that's just her narcissism, or?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't. I'm not going to even attempt to analyze what's going on in her head. But
Yeah. So these are some of her selfies that are on Facebook where she looks kind of I would just say cosmetically altered. Like that's not natural,
And this is not even her entire Facebook because she's hidden.
She's hidden a lot of it, right?
You can only go back like a year or year and a half, something like that, or 2 years. Everything prior to that you can't actually see. She's hidden it.
Yeah, and she got so offended about them saying she's 150. She looks 150 to me. I mean, in some of these photos, I don't know. And here's the lip fillers.
Yeah.
And you said chin implants, nose job, boob job. Are you aware of any other plastic parts of her, or what?
She may have had other stuff done that I don't know about, but yeah, 3 nose jobs, boob job, lip lift, eye lift, possibly cheek implants. That's what I'm aware of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something else. It's amazing, and we want to thank Woke Center Left. How was Taj compensated? Not a single nude. Were you groomed? Woke Center Left is asking.
What do you mean by groomed? I don't understand the question.
I don't know. I guess cult leaders will groom their cult disciples, to do their bidding. Do you feel like you got used and manipulated by her?
Well, as much as, a narcissist uses a person, So
yeah, well, thank you, Woke Center Left.
I would call it abuse more than, being used.
God's Gladiator is here with 5 in support and says she is getting people hurt getting people put in jail. She is harassing other people. I mean, enough is enough. Karma has come. Yeah, it's my hope that the authorities are going to step in and stop her from offering these dangerous services and hurting more people, because the next time this happens, it could be much, much worse. Do you think that she's going to try to reform some of her services, or do you think she's going to go right on offering these dangerous services, Taj?
She'll carry on.
She hasn't
No
had
reason.
she hasn't had a real job since you've known her, right?
You mean like a proper job?
Yeah.
I spoke to her. I speak to her sister regularly, her big sister, and I asked her about this. Has she ever had a real job? And she said she used to work as a waitress in, is it called Cheddar's? I think it's like a restaurant in Amarillo. But she never got on with anybody there. She just pissed off all the staff, and she was very arrogant. And you know what she's like. People are, everyone's below her, kind of thing. She's like superior to everybody. So that job didn't really last very long, really. But other than that, yeah, I don't think she's had a real job.
Wow.
I don't think she would, be able to cope in like a 9 to 5 job. She has no life skills. You know, she's never graduated from high school.
Oh, so she's
Um,
a high school dropout, giving people.
well, she
Holy smokes.
she never went to school.
Right?
So yeah, I mean, I don't really even know what kind of job she would even do if she got a day in a normal job. I don't think she's ever gonna get a normal job. Why would you get a normal job when you can make 20,000-30,000 a month? You know, doing
Yeah.
this.
And I guess I wanted to ask you, like, now that you've woken up and realized she manipulated you and so many other people, what do you think of some of her more delusional claims now? Do they register to you as batshit crazy as they would to most people? Like, claiming she's taking people through stargates, or that she can go through black holes and go to other dimensions, that she could talk to aliens and angels whenever she wants, that she can open stargates. What do you think of her delusional claims now?
I think when I say I've woken up, I think I've woken up to the narcissism. Basically, for the last 6 months, I've been like studying narcissists.
Yeah, I see your posts. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I'm an expert on narcissists, but I have spotted some other narcissists. But the thing is, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you're very much under their thumb.
Hmm.
They're they're manipulating you all the time, gaslighting you, abusing you. So you almost become, it's a form of abuse. Because I know during all those years, you could say that I was brainwashed by a narcissist to devalue myself, kind of thing. I thought that I was less than I was because this person was controlling me and abusing me and gaslighting me and all this stuff that goes on in an abusive relationship. And so it came to like a breaking point where I had to, for my own mental health, I had to end that relationship, and it was only once I was out of that relationship that I could actually begin to recover and heal from the abuse that I've been put through, basically. And even
Yeah.
though it's been 6, 7 months now, I'm still, yeah, not great. But that's mostly because she continues to abuse me by posting about me every week, posting lies, defaming me. And when I defend myself, people come at me like I'm the one who's abusing her. And this is the frustrating thing for me, is these people don't understand anything. These people have never met Sarah. They don't know her. I spent 8 years with her, working with her, living with her, going on trips around the world with her. You don't think that I know what I'm talking about? And yet these flying monkeys come at me who have never met her. They go by what she posts on Facebook every day, which is all bullshit, by the way. And they come at me with these lies every day. Okay, I've been I've been attacked, threatened, not just Brian saying, I've had other threats that I haven't made public, and I'm just trying to move on with my life, and I can't do it until Sarah stops this.
Yeah, and I totally understand because, I've been she's been coming and making false claims against me. Here she is saying Steve is about to be served by our lawyer. If he continues, he will be brought to court, and he has no money to even begin and win a case where he is being evil. And I just want to put on the record, all I've done was showed public records and tried to tell the story of this dangerous psychopath and what happens when you hire her for your spiritual or shamanic needs, right? And Faces to the Screen says, brave of Taj to be here. Thank you for the support. Much appreciated. So she's making similar threats to you. She's going to get you arrested for, whatever. She's saying that she's going to sue you as well. Do you think she's going to actually follow through and get a real lawyer, or is she going to use the fake lawyers that she sent me and others threat letters from?
I couldn't care less, to be honest. She can do whatever she wants. Yeah,
The whole thing, don't you think the whole thing is kind of ridiculous? Because, like, you're in England. What is she going to do? She's going to fly to England and hire lawyers to sue you in England, and she's going to have to stay in England during a trial. And
that's the other thing. Sue me for what? For what? What have I done? She's never produced any evidence of anything that I've done. Okay, she's claiming that I've stolen $100,000 from her. Where's the proof? Show it. She's, saying that I'm a drug addict.
Show the receipts, Sarah. Where's the receipts? You don't have receipts, and we have nothing but receipts to prove that what we're saying is true.
She keeps, okay, let me explain this to you this way, yeah? When I first quit, back in February, she said she was talking to Interpol.
Yeah, and okay? people have checked, and that's entirely it's a fabrication.
It's impossible. And when I spoke to the police here, they said that's impossible. She's no way she's talking to Interpol. Even the police officer I spoke to can't talk to Interpol. Okay, and she's a police officer. Okay, and then she said she's talking to the FBI after Interpol. Yeah, she said she's talking to the FBI. She's sending them, I don't know, evidence or whatever, evidence.
Yeah, she's sending mean tweets or mean Facebook posts that she doesn't like. That's what she's doing.
And then that went on for a while, and then she said, "Oh, she's going to hire a lawyer," and
well, we've seen her. She sent 2 separate fake lawyers after me, both of which wouldn't give a bar number or their name. Like, this is not how real lawyers operate, Taj. Do you agree with me that she's just trying to intimidate her detractors and critics to preserve her scam career? That's what I think is happening here.
She knows that it's over, but she just hasn't accepted it yet.
I think this could be the end of Sarah's scamming career. Yeah, she might have to get a real job. Imagine that.
And if this video is seen by Sarah, I want her to know that you cannot intimidate me. You won't intimidate me.
Good for you, Taj.
You will not shut me up. If anything, the more you intimidate me, the more determined I will be to expose you. Okay? So do your worst. Okay, Sarah?
Yeah, I just want to put on the record as well. Taj, you know what I do. It's probably why, you agreed to come here. And there have been a great deal of people that have threatened to sue me over my exposés here. Not one of them have yet. But, I just want to put on the record, first of all, I live in the state of Pennsylvania where there's a very strong journalist shield law. And what I do is considered journalism, even though it's a little wacky. I cover a very strange beat, paranormal, UFO weirdos, and all of this. But, there's a very strong journalist shield law in the state of Pennsylvania. So I've already got a motion to dismiss written, just waiting for somebody stupid enough to waste their money and time and energy to try to basically, sue me into silence. And that's what these people do. David Wilcock has threatened me with lawsuits. Corey Good has threatened me. Sarah has threatened me several times. Billy Carson has threatened me. But somebody in the live chat pointed out, you can't sue the truth. The best defense against this is we have the receipts. We're educating the public about what's happening. And I haven't shut up. When somebody threatens me, I agree with Taj. It makes me more willing to expose them. And I'm not going to stop. And what we did tonight, we showed some public records and we let her former manager expose what he knows about her. And this is covered under First Amendment rights and freedom of expression. And we have the right to public discourse. She can't stop that. And I think it's foolish for her to even try that.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Yeah. Well, what's next for you, Taj? You're going to be managing some new scammer, or are you done managing scammers now? Did you learn your lesson? And what lessons did you think you learned from this?
Never take anybody on face value, I think. I think there's a lot of people out there who, this is not just about Sarah. There's a lot of people like Sarah in this community.
There's a lot of predators, yes.
Yeah, a lot of people like her. Maybe I'll come after them when I'm done with Sarah. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
You want to join my Scam Busters team now, Taj, and actually do public benefit work and do things that are good for the public instead of harming the public?
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story, yeah. Years ago, I went to a psychic and had a reading, yeah. And this psychic told me that sometime in the future, I'm going to become very well known for exposing frauds in this community. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that the first person who I would be exposing would be Sarah.
Wow, yeah.
So maybe that will be something that I will be doing in the future.
And Taj, a final, but perhaps another very uncomfortable question. Many people have expressed to me that you're to blame for a lot of the heartache and suffering that Sarah has caused or scammed people out of money. Do you have any message for those people that you helped Sarah take money from, that feel they got ripped off or scammed or that she hurt? Or anything you want to say about that?
All I can say is, I'm not using this as an excuse, but I was being lied to as well and manipulated, and I take responsibility for my part in what Sarah's done, as I know that she wouldn't be able to do what she did without my help. And what I'm doing now is trying in some way to make that right, in whatever way I can do by exposing her. And I can't apologize enough to the people who have been wronged by Sarah. And I know a lot of those people have come to me and spoken to me about what Sarah's done to them. And all I can do now is just
try to make amends, right?
Try and make an amends to what she's done. And that's what I'm trying to do by coming on your show and everything that I'm posting on Facebook and the videos. And that's all I can do at the moment.
No, I think you've found your road to redemption. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, you're not the first person in this situation that feels like maybe they helped make a monster, right? You know Jay Widener, who is largely responsible for creating Corey Good and his whole media personality, had a similar experience to you and similarly came out and tried to make amends by exposing the monster that he himself created. So there's other people that have been in your situation. Maybe you should talk to Jay. He might be able to offer you some insight or advice about how to navigate things going forward. Purple Starseed says you should write a book. I would buy that book.
Yeah,
that-
well, there's a. I don't want to say too much. There is a documentary in the works about this, but it's.
Oh, besides mine, because I have all the videos that you have given me, and someday I'm going to do that as well. But sifting through all of that is and telling the story well is one of those things that you say, yeah, this is a good idea, and then when you realize the magnitude of work it will take to produce that, it gives me a little bit of pause. Like maybe that's not a good idea because she's not huge a name enough, I don't think, to warrant much more of my time. Or I was happy to contribute time to expose her, but I feel like enough is enough. This should be the end. We shouldn't need people shouldn't need more evidence or more proof of her fakery and fraudery to sort of I think she should be banished. These are supposed to be love and light people. She could kill someone. I mean, how love and light is that? She's very dangerous, Taj. I think she's
Yeah, I know.
extremely dangerous. I thought she was extremely dangerous before seeing this body cam event, but after seeing that, now I'm convinced that she's a public health hazard, not a healer. This is not what is the first rule of medicine? The first rule is do no harm. How is she claiming she's a healer and this is what she's offering people? Trips to the ER or trips to jail with illegal hallucinogens? It's just the whole story is crazy that she's allowed to continue.
Yeah, I
Do you,
know.
do you think that like maybe karma will all finally catch up to her because of
I
this
don't-
event and because of maybe never paying her income taxes and some other things may come back to haunt her?
There's a lot of things coming back to haunt her. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Do you think she should be able to publicly offer any services to the public after what you witnessed?
No, she's not qualified to do anything that she claims.
I agree. All right. Well, with that, Taj, I appreciate you taking the time to try to make amends to Sarah's victims, and I think you gave a sincere apology, and I appreciate that because Taj, I've talked to many of her victims, and people who felt ripped off, and people who felt scammed by her, including people that took the med bed. They thought they really. Believe it or not, some people really thought they were going through a Stargate up to a spaceship, and they gave her the money and they got a Skype call to go
Yeah.
through an imaginary scenario with her. It's crazy. I appreciate you taking the time, and you're going to come back on with with Max Spear's mom, Vanessa, correct? And we're going to kind of go through that period of Sarah and expose the truth about that, because I believe she's been lying about Max Spears for years now, and that just re-victimizes Max's family. I feel horrible for his mother, who has to go on the internet and see these lies about her son constantly for years and years and years now. That's just compounding a tragedy that's already tragic, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I hope that you will come back, and maybe we'll show some of your receipts the next time and give people a little more proof and data. I don't think they should need more proof and data after this body cam situation, but people still may want to see some of your receipts and get the total proof that she really is just making up stuff to discredit you because you no longer believe you don't believe that she has superpowers now. Is that correct?
No, I don't believe she has superpowers. No.
All right. Well, at least there's that. Well, thank you, Taj, for being willing to take the time and for doing what you're doing to try to save other people from being victimized by her.
Thanks.
All right. You have a good night. I'm going to do a quick wrap up with the audience, so you can just drop off and close the tab after I boot you here. Thank you, Taj. All right, friends. Yeah, he is the proof, says Plan D. So, my friends, what a historic Truth Seekers exclusive story. Well, maybe not exclusive. I know the National Enquirer did a story on this, but we are the people who published the body cam footage exclusively. And people are asking about the full video. Just to be clear, there was 7 hours of body cam footage. There were 7 different responding officers, all had a body cam on. So when and by the way, I was tipped off about this story, and I got the body cam footage, and I was totally confused by it because I started watching it, and it's basically 7 different angles of the same event. So, in order to make sense, and I just want to put this on the record because Sarah might say, oh, this was edited to look bad or worse than it was or whatever. And by the way, I'll be reading all super chats as they come in. We're all caught up now. Oh, no, we have ABC123 with one for the goal. And that's a super chat, which translates into Hippo character with stars growing out of his eyes, pumping his arms in the air with the word hype pulsating above him. Well, thank you for that and your kindness, generosity, and support. And you'll pardon me for not using the praise the cash bumpers much tonight, but I thought it's a serious, somber show, and having a child clown thanking people for money is a little much. So you'll pardon me for not playing the bumpers much tonight. So I will be taking some questions and comments from the live chat. I've got just a little more time to share with you. So questions or comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. I also want to encourage you, if you haven't already, please do go to YouTube and put Truth Seekers Clips, one word in the search bar, Truth Seekers, and then the word clips, but all one word. There you will see a new channel for us, Truth Seekers Clips. And here we have some clips of Sarah R. Adams. Yeah. I have some clips of her on Gaia TV spouting her nonsense. There is fake psychic Sarah R. Adams calls the cops on me. That's a great video. Fake psychic Sarah R. Adams threatens me with a completely fake lawyer on a live show. She had a fake lawyer call in to threaten me while I was live because she thought that Taj was being interviewed that night, and he was not yet booked here. But some of our greatest bits are here from the whole history of our show. There's also some edits by Spooky, which Spooky does the best edits. So a lot of people have asked me over the years to do a clips channel because people want, shorter videos, not 3-hour long deep dives. So we've done this clips channel because this is what people wanted, but this will tell you something about you shoulds. Sometimes people say, you should do this, Stephen, and I don't do it because I know it's going to be a tremendous amount of time, and we really want to focus on our core channel. But so many of you asked me to do a Truth Seekers Clips channel that we did. But we need 50 more of you to go over there and subscribe so that we can monetize the channel. And then I can afford to hire Spooky, who makes the best clips on the internet, I think, to be the Truth Seekers official clips producer. Urban Terror says, some of your best reporting, Stephen. Great work getting Taj to open up. Well, thank you, Urban Terror. And you know what's funny is I'm always a day late and a dollar short. I was a little concerned with this interview. Because, look, this guy helped her scam people. That's very clear. I forgive him, and most or many of Sarah's victims have forgiven him, but it's a tightrope. I call that a tightrope interview. I have to ask him some of these hard questions, and it's uncomfortable. And I got 2 books on how to interview people for media people or journalists, and I didn't get to read them before the interview because I just got busy. Noka says timeline is important. So Taj says he quit in February of 2025. I believe that is what he said. Yes, that is correct. Stephen, go over the police report. More details. Where is the folder for that? I don't even know. I wasn't planning on doing that on this show. I was planning on doing that on the next show. And by the way, I have an anonymous source. Well, it's not anonymous to me. I have a source which wishes to remain anonymous that has written a scathing takedown of Sarah R. Adams and all her fakery and fraudery. Apparently, they were close friends with Sarah, her and her husband, for many years. And she sent me a scathing takedown of Sarah, which we're going to read you, but we don't have time for it this evening. So the coverage of the end of Sarah R. Adams is going to continue, and we're just going to keep chipping away. Did she transport drugs across state lines? According to Taj, yes. She flew on an airplane from somewhere not in Florida to Florida with the drugs. And there's also, I want to thank everybody for the support because just for an example, to get the police interviews, we got the body cam footage and paid for that already. But in order to get the police interviews, they recorded the interviews of her where they interrogate her about this whole situation. They're going to charge us like $150. So any super chats or support we would much appreciate. And to those benefactors who have helped us to make sure that we have the resources to get these things and inform and educate the public, we thank all of you. Purple Starseed, when will Vanessa Bates be on? I believe next week, but I still have to arrange it. So let me speak to Vanessa Bates. And as soon as we agree on a date, I'm willing to do it any day next week. This week's a little busy, and we don't want to pack too much of the end of Sarah R. Adams in 1 week. Charles McDonald, with $12, says Taj fell for her. I believe you may be right. He says they were like brother and sister, though, no romantic inklings, but, I don't know. I just know that, I one time had let me say it this way, Charles McDonald. I one time had a very attractive but needy, very, very needy female friend. And I believe she friend zoned me right away, but there was always that hope that she would change her mind. So she was able to manipulate me into an awful lot of stupid shit that I did for her or helped her. And I know personally from that experience that men are stupid and we can be manipulated very easily by an attractive female into doing things we would not ordinarily do. And that may be the case of what happened here, Charles McDonald, though he disagrees with that. And thank you, Charles McDonald, longtime show supporter and one of the MVPs of gifting subs. We'll check in with the Kick live chat, see if we have any new support to call out over there. I don't believe that we do, but we'll give some Kick shout outs anyway to you people in the Kick live chat. We have Pig Monster 220 Real, and we have Katrina 5, and FF9000 is over there. Adjective Noun is over there. Adjective Noun, I should say. Scopely CFO is over there. Krister 7523679 is there. And of course, Dance Commander is there. And FF9000 is saying howdy, howdy. Well, thank you all for being there in the Kick Live chat. Yes, Kai Balin says we can be manipulated by one thing only. Well, listen, I'll just say this. There's a reason why my missus wins every single disagreement or argument we've ever had in my entire life. And that is that I don't deal well with vaginal withdrawal, right? You got to have the access, friends. You got to have the access. And if the access is removed due to a disagreement, then you just got to resolve that disagreement to your partner's satisfaction. Noka is here and says, keep up the awesome work, Stephen. Good night, all. Yeah, I want to also publicly acknowledge and thank that Spooky, who edited 7 different camera angles together to make this thing make sense. I couldn't make sense of it. And this story would probably not have happened if not for Spooky getting in there, spending however long. Spooky spent a long time getting this footage together. But I believe that Spooky agrees with me and that this is important and we need to. I'm always proudest of Truth Seekers as a show during times like this, when we do something that is definitely for the public benefit. And so, that's when I'm proudest of the show, at moments like this where we really work hard to bring people a very educational and important story. Spooky says, I never want to watch that body cam again. Yeah, Spooky did like multiple revisions of the edit too, because in one of them she was kind of shown naked and we had to blur that out or fix that and include some other stuff. There was, Taj mentioned that they went to her car and they got her license and you could hear them say, this is Sarah R. Adams. She may lie and try to say that's not her depicted in the video, but we have the police reports and we're going to go through them in a future show. Can't get her scamming out of my head, says Patty Wilhelm. So comments or questions for me, please put them in all capital letters. We're going to wrap things up here, but I've got some more fun in store for you. Let me share this. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., we're going to start doing more premieres. And tomorrow at 2 p.m., we're going to show you another fake David Wilcock whistleblower insider. And that is Gaia TV star Emery Smith. We're going to show you who he really is. We're going to show you his drunk streams. And it's a fine collection of this clown that claimed to be a secret space program whistleblower. We're going to show you him drunk as a skunk, streaming and slurring, and it is something else, friends. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow, I'll be in the live chat, and we appreciate that you guys wanted to see some more premieres, so we're trying to do that. Check Facebook and promo tomorrow night. Show thumbnail cooked. Okay, let's go over there. Uh-oh. Let me see if I even got it. Remember, Spooky, still having messenger problems, so you might need to... Oh, I did get it. Okay. All right. We'll share that tab, and we'll give you a little promotion. Oh, there we go. We got it. Give you a little promotion for tomorrow's show at 7 p.m. Oh, well, actually, I'm not sure what time I'm going to do this show. I may try to do double shows tomorrow. Oh, no, I can't because we're doing that premiere. All right, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be covering this ridiculous UAP or UFO hearing that Congress just had, in which they are wasting taxpayer time and resources on complete and total wackadoos. See George Knapp there? George Knapp said that he has absolute 100% proof of alien visitation on Earth because he knows where Bob Lazar's element 115 is buried. Why didn't he just throw it down in Congress and say, there's the proof of the aliens, bitches? No, instead he babbled, and there's Corbell behind him. We want to thank Rufus for a kind and generous $5 super chat and one for the goal. I've been thinking, guys, and thank you, Rufus, for your kindness, your generosity, and support. Big show support from Rufus. Thank you very much. I've been thinking that I'm setting these goals too high. You'll notice that I set it for 50 super chats of 5 or more, meaning the goal for tonight was 250. We only got 12 of them, so maybe I'm being unrealistic. But considering the additional time, resources, and expenses that tonight's show took to produce, I wanted to ask for the support. Like Darkside Phil, hey, if I don't beg, I don't get the money, right? But we thank you for your kindness, all of you. Circus update. I've been kind of sidetracked, Kevin Alt, because of this big story here. So I'll have an announcement about that very, very soon. I will say this, Kevin Alt. He's asking about the Internet Insanity Circus show, which is a new show I'll be debuting on Kick soon. I have finally solved the streaming issues at the cabin. And I really want to do the show on Saturday night, but I'm going to be spending every weekend at the cabin, at least from now until January, I guess. So I need to be able to stream from the cabin in order to do the show. The streaming issues and technical issues are now resolved. So now it's just a matter of getting the content together for you guys. Box of dildos update. Yes, David Wilcox still has not found a box of dildos I buried for him somewhere in the world. And I offered him $10,000 if he could find the buried box of dildos with his superpowers. He hasn't been able to find it yet. Archaic Revival says, it's okay, bro. It's an exciting story. I don't like the poor Harvey family being dragged through the mud, though. Yeah, and listen, my heart goes out to them, and I didn't broadcast this to embarrass them, or I really think that the public needs to know about what happened to them so that people don't hire this crazy wackadoo bitch and risk incarceration, jail time, being arrested, or having a medical emergency and ended up in the hospital when you hire her. It's ridiculous that she's allowed to do this. And she so far has faced no legal consequences from this. She owes the Airbnb money. She, freeloaded because she has no medical insurance. So I guess she freeloaded the medical attention she received from the taxpayers. I wonder if the Harveys will sue Sarah. Well, according to Taj here, she didn't even refund their money. After this horrific experience she gave them, she didn't even refund their money. That's something else. So tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be going over this nothing burger of a UFO hearing. And that's basically the quick report on the UAP hearing. It's another nothing burger. Newsflash, he found the box of dildos, but he had a prophetic vision that he needed to give them to the Greens so they can butt bang him. Yeah, I did put some strap-ons in there, but that was when he was still married. I buried that box, and I thought David Wilcock might enjoy his wife pegging him with some big black strap-ons. So I put those in the box, and I bought him the very best anal lube money can buy, because nothing is too good for Earth's greatest prophet. I didn't want to give him cheap anal lube. I gave him the best of the best anal lube, only for David Wilcock, friends. So we've done our due diligence, my friends. And like I said, I will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I want to thank Spooky for making the story possible. Every time that I'm in a real bad situation and crunch, Spooky comes to save the day. It's like, it's just the universe, just joking that the universe sometimes helps, right? The universe will sometimes reward you when you're doing a good deed. And I'm thankful for that. So we've got an awful lot to share with you tomorrow about this UFO hearing. But most of me thinks this was just another big nothing burger, right? So I will return tomorrow. I'll be in the live chat at 2 p.m. for the premiere of Emery Smith's Drunk Streams. And then I'll be here to do a live show at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And one moment here. And we also want to be sure that we thank... and also one more thing to promo. Well, two. This weekend is a short week for me in more ways than one. I'll be leaving for the cabin on Thursday night, but we need to get the hamster wheel of YouTube going. So some of you may be aware that before I did Truth Seekers, I did another show called The Midnight Hour. And from a historical perspective, it's interesting. I was listening to some of this stuff, getting this marathon together. Boy, I was much more believer-brained back then. And this is episodes, there's 50 of them, from 2015 to 2019. So 50 episodes, each about 2 hours, or exactly 2 hours as best I recall. So that's 100 hours of content. And I think that the Midnight Hour, I'm still proud of it to this day. I've had many great interviews with people like Grant Cameron and Stanton Friedman and many, many people, Don Schmidt, many interesting interviews. John McAfee was interviewed on the Midnight Hour and many, many others. So this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there will be a marathon show on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, and on Sunday. And I've decided that any support that we get during the Midnight Hour show will go directly towards, enhancing, let's just say enhancing the new, the Truth Seeker set, I need some set pieces. Maybe I've been saying I'm going to get a Steam Deck forever. Maybe upgrade some of our hardware here, better webcams and more of them and things like that. So we would appreciate the support. And normal rules apply. I know that people want to be recognized for their super chats because they like that I read every single one. So anybody that sends a super chat during this marathon, I will read them on Monday night's show as soon as I return from the cabin at 7 p.m. That's the first thing I will do, is thank everybody for any support that you give, because I realize, if it's pre-recorded, you're not going to get that thank you. But I will do that on Monday when I return. And so big plans for this week. We're trying to get the YouTube hamster wheel going a little faster. So I didn't want to have 3 or 4 days with no shows and no content for you. And it's kind of good to look back and see where I began. You'll notice that when you listen to this stuff, I was much more a believer into all of this weird shit back then, and slowly became more skeptical. In fact, the reason I decided to do a whole new show is because I had become so skeptical. It didn't feel right to just continue calling it the Midnight Hour Show, because the Midnight Hour Show is kind of like Art Bell Believer Brain styled. And so that, and this was audio podcast only, but we've put some images and stuff to go with the video. So I hope that you guys will come to the marathon. And the last thing that I will promo is the Clips channel. Please go on over to the Clips channel. We only need 50 more of you to go and subscribe to that Clips channel so that we can hopefully get it monetized, give Spooky a job as the Clips producer. Spooky's my first choice, of course. Yes, I was more of a believer back then, and I've slowly turned into a skeptic over time, seeing so much. One of the funny things about this whole situation with the UFO community or the consciousness community, paranormal community, is you can't solve or fix a problem unless you acknowledge the problem exists. And to me, it seems like most people in UFO land and paranormal land, or the New Age community, they just put their head in the sand, like that ostrich, and just pretend they don't see. But there is an incredible amount of fraud, fakery, bullshittery, hoaxery, and fake people scamming people in this community. And to not acknowledge it is a big problem, right? There was some important statements made. You mean at the hearing? I don't know about that. I think it's another big nothing burger. Did you have a Gaia TV subscription, Stephen? Never. I would never give Gaia TV money. If you want to know if somebody's fake, check if they were on Gaia TV. If they were on Gaia TV, they're a fraud. George Snorri, Sarah Adams, Corey Good, David Wilcock, Jimmy Church. These are all the biggest frauds in this thing. No, tonight. Oh, there was important statements made tonight on the show, and you're going to clip Taj for the Clip channel. Okay, yeah, please do that. Okay, my friends, so we've done our due diligence for this evening. I told you we've got a full week. Every day this week, there's going to be some great content for you. We want to thank you, Patreon supporters, you YouTube channel members, you people gifting subs on Kick or becoming subs on Kick, you people gifting memberships on YouTube, people buying me a coffee. Oh, I forgot. It's not buy me a coffee, it's buy me a beer. In my case, somebody has bought me a beer. For those unaware, I recently had some financial setbacks and I was forced to drink brokey beer. But my wonderful audience has stepped in and stepped up to the plate. Tumbling Dice bought 2 beers, so thank you for that, Tumbling Dice. And before that, I'll just say North bought 25 beers, 20 beers. Wow. So for those unaware, I'm challenging myself that I will only spend the money from people buying me a beer on beer. My wife thinks that I spend too much money on beer and, whatever, bad habits. She says I have too many bad habits and I shouldn't spend so much money on beer. So I will only spend what goes in the buy me a beer system on beer. But so far, we're doing pretty good. I think there's $150 in there. So if you're feeling generous, instructions for how to help, and you want to save me from the horrors of brokey beer, you could go over to buy me a beer, buy me a coffee, buy me a beer, and help my beer fund so that I don't spend too much. I guess I'll only spend what's in there, honey. She's going to be pissed. It's going to be more than I usually spend. I don't know. Case of beer a week? What's that? 25, $30 a week? I don't know. There's more in there than that now. So thanks to all of you who heard the call of the brokey beer, right? Buy the brokey beers. No, I'm buying good beer. There's a good beer budget in there, Kabbalion. You only buy the brokey beer if you have to. Beer promoted to Budweiser. No, Yinling Lager Light and Michelob Ultra is what I've been drinking lately. What brand is the brokey beer? Brokey beer is any beer that's like 50 cents a can. Like if you go to the beer distributor and you can get a 30-pack of that beer for $15, that's brokey beer. And brokey beer comes with horrific hangovers, if you ask me. Like the cheaper the beer, the more it's going to affect you the next day. I never get a hangover from decent beer, unless I really, really overdo it. The cricket is back. Yes, well, Patty, we're going to be moving back to my office to do live streams and get the multicam setup going again. I, for one, cannot wait. For those unaware, I usually do streams in my office, but it's an attic room and it's so hot in there that I can't during the warmer months of the year. So we retreat to another area of the house, which I hate. It's not terrible, but it's just not comfortable here. I'm much more comfortable in my office where I prep all the shows. And we have this issue that I have to bounce things back and forth between two workstations now. But in any case, we've done our due diligence, friends, and that's all I have for you. So until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you, especially you people that were victimized by this fake scammer psychic, Sarah R. Adams. In my opinion, this should be the end of Sarah R. Adams scams. Good night, and God bless all of you.
Pulls the veil so thin. Alien lies crash and burn again. Psychic fakes tremble under gaze. New age con men lost in the haze. Thou signs and eyes that con you blind. Sell your dreams, leave your hope behind. False prophets preaching empty noise. Silences their deceitful voice. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Truth seekers uncover the lies. Truth seekers open your eyes. Dark shadows they slither, they crawl, promising secrets, then you fall. Stephen's torch lights up the dark. Expose the fakes, watch them depart. Skywatchers caught in webs they spin. Spaceships faked by tricksters within. Each fraudster's empire builds on sand. Stephen's truth will make it disband. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Truth seekers uncover the lies. Truth seekers open your eyes. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Truth seekers coming for you. Open your eyes. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers never tire. Under pressure lies break apart. The truth burns bright, it's just the start. Truth seekers uncover the lies. obey your eyes.